Welcome, Bad Ashley from Queens. Welcome to another episode of Dead Air. Hello, Redban. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Good to see you. I'm excited about today's show, as I'm always excited about the show. Today, I have some close friends that I've known for quite some time. We're waiting for Alonzo Bodden. He says he's on his way. But in the meantime, we have Doug Williams.
Yes. Here.
Hello, Doug.
How you doing, buddy?
I've known Doug for quite some time, a comedian and entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And when was that pilot we did with Roger Nygaard? That was quite some time ago. And the Results Team, I think it was called.
The Results Team.
And I have Ben Wilson to my right. Ben and I met each other in Los Angeles back in, I guess, 89.
89, probably.
Known you
90
over
at least.
30 years.
Yeah.
Doing a writer and a comic and Alonzo Bodden, third season of Last Comic Standing. He's the winner of that, and his credits are pretty extensive. So we're all happy to be here today on another Dead Air. We missed last week because of logistical problems with things that were going on, and we got some nice items of interest today. I cut them down considerably, and I mean that this week, because I do want to talk to my guests about what's going on. And I got a shout out here to Kesley Huggins. Thank you for your generosity. And he lives in Merrill's Inlet in South Carolina. Thank you, buddy. And Jay Milley. I think I hear a motorcycle. I think that's Alonzo Bodden now. He's a motorcyclist. Yep. And, that looks like him. I don't know else who would be on a motorcycle right in front at this time. It must be him. So we'll continue the podcast and wait till he enters. Looks like he's taking off his helmet. Yes, he's taking off his helmet. He'll be in a second. So, shout out to Jay Milley. He likes the long form podcast. He likes it long. He likes it short. Thank you, Jay Milley, for your comments. He's coming in now. He reached for the doorknob. He's inside. He's inside the studio. And he's coming in. He's closed the door behind him. And he should be entering the studio momentarily.
Hey, Alonzo.
All right.
I'm being watched.
He's here. See, I wasn't kidding you. He's here. All right. He's gonna get acquainted.
Yeah, you'll be right back in that corner right there.
Wow.
Alonzo, you know Doug Williams.
Right. What up, Doug? What's up, man? How you doing, buddy?
This is Ben Wilson.
Yes.
Hey, what's up?
Good long-time friend of mine, and you know Redban, of course. How'd you everything okay? You got here? Yeah.
Safety in here.
Well, you usually wait 10 minutes, and then if we're not here in 10 minutes, we start the podcast. So.
Well, thank you. Did you wait or did you start?
No, it was after 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We waited till 10 minutes.
No worries. Sorry, I told you I had to do another.
No. I got you covered, but you know,
interview.
we can't.
That ain't all about me. I understand.
No, you have a good voice. I wish I had the voice that Alonzo has for the podcast. You're going to see a real gibberish here in the next 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
No, you guys, you're free to leave whenever you want to. If you can't take it anymore, it's no big deal. Just where did you come from?
Woodland Hills.
Wow, so you had a nice ride.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm on the other side of the
And
valley.
you're in Pasadena still, Doug?
No, I'm. It says L.A., but technically it's Studio City.
Studio City, and
weird. Zip code. They you're in one spot and then you go over a street and then you're in a whole nother.
And I've known Doug since we did a pilot once called The Results Team with that Roger Nygaard character.
Oh, okay.
He's the editor, does all the editing for Curb Your Enthusiasm. Mm-hmm. He's doing the editing for the Comedy Store project for Showtime.
Yeah.
And
he's doing a lot.
And Ben Wilson, we started doing the open mics back in '89. I've known him since 1989.
Wow.
The Natural Fudge, remember the Natural?
Yes, I do remember the Natural Fudge.
Brenda?
Yes.
Oh, she was a sweetheart. She really was. She had a club on Fountain, and she let all the comics come in and work out, and it was
Wow, you're good. You remember her name. I remember the Natural Fudge. I wouldn't have remembered her name for $1,000, but I do remember those days. Yeah, that's when we met. We met in those days when we were open micing, and on occasion we'd get up at a club, right? And then we had, remember Victoria Dushoff? Remember she used to book those hotels? Like gigs at hotel
vaguely.
bars and lobbies. I remember we did those together.
I think you sent me on one of those. Like whenever there was one that you couldn't do, you would call.
She had a habit of getting gigs next to a comedy club. We'd be in the Hyatt next to the Comedy Store,
right.
and this and that, right? But she was a great lady. She was great.
You saying was? I mean, is she dead?
I'm
She passed away some time ago.
She
passed away some time ago, But back in the day, I remember she had a Wednesday night at the Holiday Inn by the airport. It's not a holiday, like whatever the upper class Holiday Inn is called, whatever.
Perfect voice. Look how clear and precise that voice.
But that's what she had.
You do voiceover work too. We'll get to that.
And Wednesday night, you would do the show in the bar, and half the people in the bar were German tourists who did not speak English at all. Like there was a tour group. There was a tour group that would regularly come in. So they were all in the bar and didn't speak English at all. And it's like, all right, just go up and do your 10. See if you can. And you couldn't make fun of them. They were like, and don't make fun of the Germans. Because they were like just innocent bystanders, right? They just happened to be at the hotel that night and for their tour, and they were at the bar. So it's like, no sense abusing them.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize how much fun it was when you was just starting out at these hotels and the audiences, and there was one at the airport. There was, they were just everywhere. It was just a golden time, And
well, it was. I think it's fun because we didn't know any better, right? When you start out,
that's true.
When you start out, you don't know that it's a shitty gig because you've never had a good one. You've never had a good one, so you don't know that this is a bad gig. You're like, this is great.
If you had audience members,
I'm on stage.
Nobody was getting paid. So this is number 27 of Dead Air. So this is kind of like a new podcast, and I just want to say, this is the first time that I've had African Americans on the show.
That wouldn't be by design, right? Because of everything that's going on right now.
Purely coincidental.
No, we've had a Jehovah's Witness. We've had an Iranian. We've had Darren Carter, the whitest person in the world. You know, if you go in the dictionary next to Darren Carter, there's a picture of him, fucking white. And you were a last minute, Ben, because I had a blonde white girl that was going to come on. Because, everybody knows the brothers really like white women,
Doug, is there a stereotype he's not hitting?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, how do we not have chicken in the middle of this thing?
But she couldn't. She's in Denver, so her name was Metro.
For social conscious.
Ashley Metro, I think her name is. I called her yesterday to confirm. And she's not making it. So I said, well, I'll call Ben. So this is just even better. Full house.
Full house.
So before I start any further, Ben, Quran or Bible?
I'll take the Bible for $200, Alex.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth while you're on this podcast?
I'll do my best.
Right. Doug?
Yeah, I'm not going to do that for a podcast, man. It's bad enough y'all make us do that in
there
court.
There are no wrong answers. There are no wrong answers. Alonzo,
do that on the
you got a lot of
podcast,
credit, so I don't think I'm going to fuck with you.
This is really out of, here you have three black men, and we got to come in here, put our hand on the Bible. Go ahead,
I was going to tell him, I swear to make this shit up as I go. I swear to tell you nothing that can be held against me in the future. How's that?
I'll put the Bible and the Quran
I thought
away.
it was something odd about you carrying a Bible and Quran. I thought you were trying to, figure yourself out, trying to find yourself. But this is all for the thing. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I like to bring gifts for the guests. This is some, when you guys start flying again, this is for the ear pods.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
So here's
one of a kind podcast.
What is that?
Right here.
Alonzo's already thinking about getting the hell out of here.
No, Brian, what I'm thinking, Brian, you are a white guy This is Burbank. To those listening, they may not know where we're at. We're in Burbank. Doug, can you imagine if a white guy got pulled over carrying a Bible and a Quran in Burbank? I want to see you explain that. I want to see you explain that Quran to the Burbank PD.
With that short haircut.
Yeah, right. I want you to explain to the Burbank PD. No, see, I have a podcast. And yeah, okay, come with us.
Oh, man.
So some things that happened today in history, I like to go, well, let's do the weather report. It was 93 degrees at 12:50 today. At 3 p.m., it's 95, and it feels like 95, huh?
Yeah, it's hot.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a different kind of heat. I'm from Alabama. When it's 95, it's a different type of, it's sticky, you know.
So you want to cause some controversy and not totally agree with the temperature?
No, I'm just saying, you know.
I don't want to start. We're going to get into other things later.
But get out here. My point is, we get out here to L.A., we complain about everything. You know what I'm saying? This is 95 degrees.
Is pretty hot.
It's not 95. It's not a accurate 90. It's not a southern 95. Where are you from?
Right,
Alonzo?
I'm from New York. No, it's not a humid.
You know, so in New York, when it's 95, you know what I'm saying?
It's a humid 95.
Right.
There's no humid, but it's still hot.
But it's a breeze, you know, here.
Let
and
it
there.
go, Doug.
Okay.
Doug, you live in L.A. now. You don't live in Alabama anymore. It's 95 degrees. Just let it go.
The sunset's going to be at 8:04 p.m. The sunset is going to be at 8:04 p.m. Quite a late sunset, so that's good news.
Why do you give this out for I mean, is this live?
You know who I am,
live.
right? You know who I am.
Okay. I've never been on a podcast where people get a sunset.
I've never heard him say that either.
Yeah.
In case someone's running the stats later.
All right.
Or a fisherman who needs to
Your
check high
podcast.
tide, low tide.
We'll go with
I'm
in
glad,
next.
Doug, that you're being very combative so early in the podcast.
No, I'm just saying. I've never been on a podcast where people give what time the sun sets and
Right.
how hot it is
the
outside.
Bible or the Quran.
Yeah, I mean, this is different, man.
I think the only thing better than you giving the weather is Doug fact-checking the weather. Like, after you give it, Doug's fact-checking it just to make sure. Look, if you're going to give the weather, make sure you give it right.
Some notable events that happened today in history, I'd like to go over those. In 1934, Donald Duck was introduced. Donald Duck. And it was in a show called The Wise Little Hen.
I wonder
after Mickey.
I wonder if people accepted him right away. You know what I mean? Because like today, right, in the age of Twitter, if you introduced a new character to a successful franchise, right, people be like, oh, I don't know about the duck. What is the duck? Blah, blah, blah. I wonder if they were like, we're happy with the duck, or like, hey, come on, ducks and mice don't get along. Like, I wonder what was the sentiment when
We don't
Donald
want to
came.
upset the other ducks.
Right. When Donald came along, right, where was Daffy Duck? Was
Yeah,
Daffy Duck
exactly.
even working yet?
What about the duck-on-duck crime? You know, we don't want to... in 1973, Secretariat won the Triple Crown.
What is that?
That
Horse racing?
Horse racing.
rich people horse
Man, you got
racing
the
nonsense.
Wrong cast.
Wait, you don't.
these kind of
All
stuff.
kidding aside, you don't know the story of Secretariat?
No, I don't.
Watch the movie. I remember that. This horse didn't just win the Triple Crown. This was the greatest horse that ever ran. This horse won by 20 lengths or something like that.
Right.
That this horse was so
Dominant.
fast, dominant, and superior. No, it's a documentary. Like, there's a movie, Secretariat. You got to see it, man. If you like sports,
Who
I know
stars
you
in the
like
movie?
sports. I don't remember who stars in it.
Is horse racing a real sport?
Yeah, it's a sport.
Even though you just get on the horse
No, it's
and
a
you
sport.
hit it, and you hit it with a stick.
Toby
I mean,
Maguire,
it's
right?
like automobile racing. Is that a real sport when you just know how to put your foot on the gas?
We'll have that argument in a second. No, because I'm gonna tell you, I believe it is. But just talking to Doug, I know you're a sports fan. I know
am a
you
sports
love
fan.
sports. See the movie Secretariat just as a sports fan to see the greatest horse of all time win and how he did it. It's
You
just
mean the story that has a whole backstory?
the whole story.
I can get into
the
that.
story and the races and again, so dominant. It would be like Jordan. Like, he ran. Normally these horses are close, this and that. He was like Jordan playing against high school kids. Like, this horse, This horse was so fast and so far ahead of the other horses. He was eating hay in the barn when the other horses were coming around the far turn. Secretariat had already got the flowers and was kicking back, getting his stud feet. You're
a very intricate brother, man. Because
I don't want this podcast to end. I really don't want this podcast to end.
I don't know a lot of black guys that are into horse racing.
No,
like that.
But again, you didn't have to be in the horse race. You know what it was like?
But if it wasn't for the documentary, you wouldn't have known about it.
No, I knew about him, but it was like Tiger Woods, right? Like nobody cared about golf, right? Then Tiger came along, and it was like, this guy is so
franchise player.
Right, he's so good that I don't care about golf, but I want to see Tiger. Oh. That's the way Secretariat was. It was like, I don't know anything about horse racing, but this horse...
Well, only thing that could have topped that was a black guy riding him?
No. Okay. Let's not get stupid.
All right. Okay. I'm just saying. I mean, now that would have really brought it together for me.
No, Brian, I'll tell you why racing is a sport. And you talk to anyone who does it. It's hot. And this is the hardest part is concentrating, right? I've driven cars on racetracks. I've ridden motorcycles on racetracks. And you have to have this high level of concentration. And to maintain that concentration for hours while it's, it's hot, you're getting tired, this or that. That's the athletic part. It's not athletic like playing basketball or soccer or something, but just to maintain it under those conditions. That's the hard part.
Do you remember the newscaster from New York, Steve Warner? He used to have a problem.
I don't remember Steve Warner.
Right. He used to have a problem with automobile racing. When it came time for him he was a sports.
Yeah.
And he had a problem with the motor racing. He was from the school that he didn't think that was, because he didn't like how dangerous it was and how you could get killed. And remember that guy? He was on there for a long time.
But that's also part of it. That's also part. That's why you're concentrating, because you realize, I could get killed if I screw this up. So I give it a sport. I mean, again, not in the same way as football, basketball.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of people argue that baseball players aren't athletes, right? Baseball players, because you're not running constantly, you're this or that. But in that moment, you got to be super athletic in the moment you have to perform.
I guess
they had
the horses are doing all the work.
They had the Boston New York Mets 1986 Game 6 on. They were replaying it. Yeah. What a game!
Oh man,
where the guy on first,
Buckner. Billy Buckner.
Oh yeah!
What a game! That was a great.
I'm a Met fan. We have Billy Buckner in our Hall of Fame.
My sister Sue is a big Met fan. Yeah, they even got a brick. They bought a brick at the new stadium.
Oh, did they?
In honor of my father.
Nice.
Ben is not a special needs adult. Just so everybody knows. Ben, you're going to get involved in this podcast?
Well, yes.
You weren't just brought here for your blackness, okay? We want you to talk.
Right.
But very interesting, yeah.
So that was the other group you brought in. Black you brought in special needs. Just we couldn't get a blonde, but we got a special needs guy.
I know how a lot of black gentlemen they like white women, so I thought it would be a treat to have a very young.
I'm sorry, I screwed this up for you.
But it's just interesting because Alonzo and I are both from back east. We're both about the same age. We both had former careers that were kind of the same.
Yeah, aerospace. Yeah.
And he was fortunate enough and smart enough to make that break into this new career that has taken off. Where me, I know my act. You don't have to tell me to quit my day job. I mean, I've seen my act. I know the react. But just ketos.
Thank you, but I've always been a Holtzman fan. And everyone is. Every comic knows nobody can approach your level of not give a shit. Nobody comes close
to
your level of not give a shit. No, Ben's not saying anything. Ben has no opinion on anything. But honestly, Doug,
are you black, Ben? Are you really a black man?
Doug, do you know anybody, honestly, who will just not give a shit when they hit the stage and say whatever's on their mind the way Holtzman does?
No, not to the point where, it could ruin you. I mean,
right.
Doesn't care. Goes out there. Industry people there are not, showcase.
Yeah, now you have to watch what you say now because you're at a level now. You don't, you can, to a certain extent. I mean, come on.
No, honestly, it's not that. It's just it's different styles, though. I mean,
right.
I mean, listen, I'll say what I want to say, but you have a more raw style about you, and it's not a matter of wondering. It's just who you are. You know what I mean? Like you don't. Does that make sense?
When I first saw him, I just couldn't picture you doing anything else. When I saw him on stage, the way he was talking, I couldn't picture him in another job.
Either does the other jobs. Now, I want to. I don't even care if we get to items of interest today because I just love this conversation, and I want to publicly apologize to. I had Andrew Dice Clay's kid that's in Dylan and Max. And I watched the tape, and you know what? I have to apologize publicly. I ruined it. We were having a great, great podcast, and they were getting Max was getting a little, and he could have been messing around anyway. I mean, I love the guy, Max, and we do items of interest, and he was getting a little bit. Anyway, I didn't handle it correct, and they left.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
I don't want you to leave.
Yeah, but you didn't. He skipped over some details. Yeah, he's like, I just didn't handle it.
So you offended them somehow?
No, not really. It was just.
Is that it on the screen?
Yeah, they pretty much they thought that Brian was going to interview them and talk about their band, but he was doing his items of interest, which are current events, and he was reading it, and they got upset that Brian was just reading the newspaper pretty much.
He said, "What?" He says, "I took a shower for this."
That's hilarious. And they just left?
Now another thing, Alonzo, stroke is no joke.
Yes. You know what's funny? You know what's funny about that? So
tell people what that is.
So what he's talking about, this is, I don't know how many years ago, I got a call to do this public service campaign called Stroke is No Joke. And it was basically about the symptoms of a stroke, right? You feel numbness in your left side or this or that. And I made the joke, if you feel numbness in your left hand, use your right hand to call the ambulance and go, right? So they ended up playing this on ESPN Sunday nights. It was part of the sports thing. So everybody heard it because everybody watches.
I heard it on the radio.
Yeah. They would, but it was funny because I became the stroke guy. People oh, you're the stroke. Yeah, your stroke is no joke. Yeah, you're the stroke. And I was like, I don't know anything about strokes. I don't know anything about, and it wasn't like my dad died of a stroke where, you know how you become associated with a charity like that, it's some personal connection.
You have a stroke victim in the family.
Right. It was I don't have any stroke victims. It was just something I did, but it caught on. And for a while, and this is the other thing that's funny about that. So now, jump forward 10 years later, I donate a kidney to my brother. Right?
I heard. You're very generous.
Yeah. Well,
you gave a kidney?
Yeah. Now the National Kidney Foundation comes to me and they're like, hey, we need you. You got to do your kidney bit. No, they don't pay you. So I had a kidney bit, so I did the kidney bit, but the kidney bit didn't get the traction that stroke did. Kidney doesn't carry.
I heard stroke on my radio.
Yeah, stroke
more than once.
Stroke carries.
Yeah. I know that, dude.
I
can't get on the internet because my arm is numb. I said, well, use your good arm and dial 911.
Remember that.
Stroke's no joke. If you or someone you love is showing symptoms of stroke, don't wait because it might be too late. Dial 911. Time lost is brain lost.
Did they pay you for that?
No. Public service. You get paid $1.
Golly.
Yeah, public service announcement. You get paid $1.
Wow.
But what are you going to do? Say no? You know what I mean? The National Stroke Foundation comes to you and says, hey, will you, read this copy, do this joke? Nah, I don't care about them stroke victims. The hell with them. You got any cash? No. Listen, Doug, there's a lot of shit I got to balance between that heaven-hell equation. You know what I'm saying? Any points I can get on that side, I'm going to go with that. I get a few stroke points. I might get in.
Doug thought it was at 12 today. He called me.
Yeah, man. You know what? My phone died yesterday.
He's on East Coast time.
No, what happens is when my phone dies and I turn it on, you get all these and your message wasn't there, and then you got lost in the shuffle. And I just remembered, I said, "Oh man, I got to do the thing or whatever." And I was driving. I said, "I know it's on Magnolia," and it was 12 o'clock. And then
I'm sorry
I called
about
you.
that.
Yeah. So
Well, listen, we better do some topics of the day, or I'm walking out.
I
I
got
can't,
items of interest, and
can't be bothered with no items of
and
interest.
he's big enough where you wouldn't stop him. You just say okay.
I can't be bothered with no items of interest. Let's get some items of interest.
Yeah, another notable event on today in history. In 1978, the Church of Latter-day Saints let black people become priests.
They recognize us.
in what year?
1978.
Man, that's embarrassing. That's really a race.
Yeah, they wouldn't let us in.
Everybody else kind of folded like right after King died, but they waited 10
they-
years after that. Oh, come on.
It was like they didn't recognize black people as human or good enough or something like that. Oh yeah, it was a whole thing.
And that's how they
ended,
when you say Latter-day Saints, you're talking about the Mormons, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which oddly was the same year the Jazz moved to Utah.
That was 100 and it ended 148 years of this ban, but it could have been just.
We should throw that in the protest.
It could have been. It could have been just one of those. Clerks are always messing up paperwork, and
Nah, that's
You think so,
That's racism.
Doug?
No, it's racism.
you think it was just a safu, perhaps?
I think it was.
No,
racism.
it was a race thing. It was definitely a race thing.
Wasn't there a
You seem to be kind of sure about
Oh
it.
yeah, there was no middle ground. There wasn't it wasn't like some clerk forgot to write it down.
Holtzman,
In the new
you
rules.
idiot!
No,
you
this one-
stupid effing asshole!
This one was straight up racism.
Racism. Yeah. We call it like we see it.
And anything you want to say about that, or you don't give a shit about this?
not that whole?
You just want
I was
Go ahead, man.
no. I said no. I think there wasn't there a recruit. This could be too much urban legend, which I don't want to.
About killing, killing
libel.
You were from back.
Well, listen, you're the only one. You're the only one who swore on the Bible to tell the truth.
Come on.
He wasn't having it.
You got to be careful because me and Doug didn't swear.
Don't play with that.
You've sworn already.
He wasn't having it.
Have you ever been arrested?
No, I haven't.
Like you could tell, yeah. You went right with the program. White man put a Bible in front of you, went right to, you conform.
What's the urban legend that you're talking about, though?
That there was a recruit, a single son of a single
we
mom.
can hear
Sorry
that.
about that. Who was? They found out like the mom went to the Mormon church and they wanted to recruit him to play football. I think he was a running back. I want to say.
Oh, I believe that.
And then it was. Oh, I had a revelation.
Oh yeah, Division I sports. Yeah, that'll conquer racism any day.
Oh, they made up a story. That's what you're
Yeah,
saying. They
yeah.
made up a cover story.
Yeah, so suddenly he was good enough.
Well,
I believe.
I think
that.
my clerk story is more more possible than that silly.
Are you kidding? If a great player was available and like you had to change the rules of your religion, you don't think they do that? I believe they would. It's like, you know how much
Sports.
Yeah, they'd like
Ching,
listen.
sports. They let the
Listen,
devil play on the team.
about
Absolutely.
that whole blacks ain't human thing. Yeah, let's set that to the side.
I have.
This kid runs a 4.240, and
We want to win.
we gonna need him. We gonna need him.
Oh man,
So,
man, you come organized. You got all your papers.
well, I
and
try
stuff?
to fill the podcast with this, with I want. This is a book on letters. I don't doubt if we'll get to the letter book today. This is Redban's favorite. This is a 1952 copyright. This is Letters for All Occasions, because people don't write letters anymore.
No.
A guide to social and business correspondence with 300 model letters and telegrams.
Wow.
What young person is going to read this book?
Yeah.
Young person, we're old people and we're in this.
No, there was another book.
When's the last
Sylvia-
time you sent a telegram? When's the last time you said, "Man, I better get down to the telegram office"?
Is there still telegrams? Can you still do that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Stop.
You can still.
Aunt Millie had a stroke. Stop.
Right, right. Technically, I think you could still send a telegram.
Fell down the stairs and broke her neck. Stop. I always like to bring a little food for the guests.
Is that
We don't have any
Impossible
wings.
Burger?
Yeah, everything in there.
I only eat Impossible.
I knew there'd be a problem. For
No,
you.
I'm good, but thank you. No, I just ate before, right?
What is that?
Just a hamburger.
Yeah, I don't eat red meat. I just eat Impossible.
Why is that?
You didn't bring an Impossible burger?
Cows' lives matter. Yeah, put that over there. Oh, Janice.
I don't eat red meat. Thank you, though.
Did you want? You guys don't want one.
I don't eat red meat.
No, thanks.
I don't eat red meat.
All right.
Can I get another water? Trying to be healthy, man.
That's what is it? We lowered the price of the water, didn't we?
No, yeah.
Just pay us after the
Buy one,
podcast.
get one free.
So, what was I going to say about Queens? So, you don't miss back east? Well, how old were you when you left
No.
to come to
18.
California?
I left
Right away. Yeah, I went in the Air
Yeah.
Force.
You from New
myself.
York, you said?
Yeah, I
What
grew
part
up
of
in
New York?
Queens. St.
Oh, yeah, my wife's from the Bronx.
St. Albans. Yeah, the winter and the sleet and
2
the
weeks.
snow. You don't miss
2 weeks after my 18th birthday. Well, I had been hired by Lockheed. Lockheed had already hired me. But yeah, 2 weeks after I turned 18, man, I came out here. And 2 weeks after I got here, I was like, yep, this is it. Like, I never had any desire to go back east. I knew this was home. When I got here, I was like, I'm good.
all year round motorcycle riding,
Yeah,
all year round
motorcycle
gardening.
culture, everything. But it was just the whole vibe, man. I like LA. You know, like last week, what was it? Saturday night was the first night. Shit went crazy, right? And Sunday I went out just to kind of see what it looked like and this and that. And I was riding around and I really had that vibe of, I love my city. Like, this is home, man. I love LA. So yeah, I'm good with it. Absolutely.
And you're
Did
Doug.
you bike out?
I'm sorry?
Did you bike out from New York?
No,
when you
I
first came?
flew here. I
Oh,
flew,
okay.
yeah.
You're not that big of a bike.
But my first vehicle was a motorcycle. I had a motorcycle before I had a car.
Okay.
Usually, when people move to a new location,
Well, sometimes they start completely fresh, and sometimes people want to make a drive across country.
All right.
No, Brian, I was 18. I was a kid, so I didn't have a car. You know, in New York, you don't get a car when you're like 16. Like everywhere else in the country, people get a car while they're in high school. In New York, if you had a car when you were in high school, you were a celebrity.
Yeah, that's true. My wife has family members who still don't have a car. They're like 30 years old and don't know how to drive. Seriously.
My first car was a 200 SX. It was a Burger King company car that my sister Terry had, and then I got it. And drove it back and forth 3 times. Doug, where are you originally from?
I'm from Montgomery. You know, I just want to say, I'm going to talk about that, but if you brought the airline things or what have you, you should have known, you know, in airlines, they ask you what you want. You know, you can make a request of food. If you're going to bring lunch, you should have said, hey, who eats meat? Who, you know, that's
Right.
not just some spontaneous. You're going to have guests, you know.
No, you're wrong.
But no, I'm from Alabama. I'm from Montgomery, Alabama. I grew up in
And what time? How old were you when you moved out west?
I don't know. I moved out here in 95. I guess I was like maybe 23, 24 years old.
You want to say hello to your wife? Say hello to your wife.
I
She's
don't
great.
think she's going to be watching
She was
this,
on
but,
that pilot. We
yeah.
did the pilot with his wife.
Hello to my wife. Yeah, we've been married for 17 years, been together 24 years. You know,
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Hey, isn't Roy Wood Jr. from Alabama?
He's from Birmingham, Alabama.
He's from Birmingham. Okay.
Yeah, I know
thought
Roy
was
Wood. He
Alabama.
started out in radio.
Yeah.
He's from Alabama too. So
Okay.
there's a few of us from Alabama putting it down out here. But I came out here, man. I can't say I was like Alonzo when I got out here. It's like, this is it. I love this place. I had to be won over. But now, looking back, I couldn't see myself going back to Alabama. I mean, my mind has been so exposed, to being out here on the West Coast, everybody out here, to going back to just black and white. I couldn't do that. That's what the South is, black and white. Still.
And where are you from originally, Ben?
Denver.
Colorado?
Yes. Came out in 89, finished school out here.
Where at?
Northridge.
Oh, okay.
Ask him a question.
He's
Doug.
thorough, man. He came in wearing a mask. He didn't take it off until we came in here.
Yeah.
So this his brother's real conscious.
Yeah,
He drank water, put his mask back up after he took a sip. You have preconditions?
I have
No.
my mask. I just,
Stroke is no joke.
I'd roll the dice on you 3.
I said that when he first asked me to do the thing. I said, "Is there going to be social distancing?" Because when you married, your wife, you have a answer.
Doug, you and I could not be closer without being in a relationship.
That's what I'm saying. That's it. I mean, it's
If
no.
we were any closer, your wife would have reason to be questioning. Yeah.
And like you said, if anybody's got it, we did. We all got it in this room. So
All right,
Thanks, Brian.
I'm gonna start the items of interest. You guys,
All right.
you chime in whenever you want on the items of interest. We'll try to
Is
get
this
through.
an official part of the show?
Oh, this
is the part that ran the people out, right?
Yeah, this is the part that
this
runs.
Is the segment that ran the other people out?
Alonzo, they sit there.
No, I'm just laughing because is this an official part of the show? Everything up until now is about to be deleted. This is when the show begins.
Should I hit record?
Well, that's why we call it dead air. You know?
Oh, okay.
And I hope I'm going to be on your podcast.
I don't do guests, man. Well, I need to start.
You have a podcast?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. What are you doing on yours?
I do. This is my thing. My podcast, it's just my own thing, and I'm surprised people listen, and I appreciate it. So it's called Who's Paying Attention, and I go through the week's news. It started out with me doing things, because I like doing topical comedy, and I would talk about the stories behind the jokes, right? But then it just became a thing of, I'm just going to give my take on stories in this week's news. And it's just something I do every week, and people seem to like it.
How do you do it? I mean, you set up like this, or you just do it right on your phone?
I do it at home on my computer, and then send it into the network, and they broadcast.
He gets up on the roof with an antenna and a piece of wire, and Doug, how can they find it? Tell them.
I'm part of the All Things Comedy Network, so you can go to All Things Comedy, or anywhere the normal podcast outlets, Apple, and so on, Apple Podcasts. Yeah,
all right.
I'm out there.
Did you cut your burger in half?
Of course.
Okay.
He gets a cut from Burger King.
I was going to say, I didn't see him whip out the knife, but he's always got his burger cut in half.
Oh, yeah. You cut your sandwiches in half.
That's
no reason why you
interesting.
should cut your
That's
burgers
interesting,
in
because this
half.
woman asked me one time, she said, do you want your hamburger cut in half? And I was like, hell no.
Right.
Well, man, no. I don't cut burgers in half, because I've learned some men do. Okay.
No, what I like is that, you can finish a half and still have another half, as opposed to just shoving this thing in your mouth and then not knowing if it's going to be more or not,
We'll take that.
All right. The first item of interest is after Switzerland formally cleared sex workers to reopen their business while maintaining the official prohibition against close contact.
How does that work?
You got to be like Errol Sanko.
Isn't that
Earl Skakel.
You got to be like Earl Sanko. You got to be hung like a building.
those peep shows in New York back in the, 60s, 70s, 50s? When were those?
Yeah, 60s, 70s, whatever. Yeah. So how do you have a sex worker and keep social distance?
I am well aware that the bizarre aspect of the decision, said Health Minister Alan Berserk. With the release of a new research showing 49% of Americans worry that they will never get their pre-lockdown body back, the average American has gained 5 pounds during the pandemic.
That is a lie. 5 pounds? They're lying. No, the average American has admitted to gaining 5 pounds. The average American's gained 20 pounds, but they'll claim 5.
Not 25.
They'll claim 5. Yeah.
Most of it in the neck.
Not going to touch that.
After Tropical Storm Cristobal gathered strength in the Gulf of Mexico with the potential to turn into a destructive hurricane that could batter America, Americans already coping with the pandemic and widespread social unrest. Forecasters warn that this will be a bad hurricane season.
Why not?
Is it hurricane season already?
Hurricanes.
I thought that's in the fall, right?
Locusts, murder
Starts
hornets.
right now. Summer.
Okay.
Summer.
Everything in the back of that Bible of yours is coming in 2020. You name it.
I want the giant ants to come back.
Yeah. Some plague.
Get the flamethrower.
Yeah, who knows?
Doug, this is from your part of town, Mississippi.
Yep.
Named the least safe state in the country based on an analysis of crime, traffic fatalities, workplace safety, mass shootings, and other factors by the financial website Waller Hub. Louisiana and Florida ranked 49 and 48 respectively, while Maine and Vermont were deemed the safest states. Wow.
What was Mississippi?
Mississippi's number 50.
The most dangerous.
It was okay.
It wasn't doing too well.
So Maine, it's funny, Maine and Vermont are the safest. Two of the whitest places. You know, what are they trying to say? What are they trying to say?
You want me to read it again?
No,
We're good. Let's move to the next
just
one.
saying that,
Yeah, it's weird because you never hear of Mississippi being a dangerous place ever. You know?
Yeah, if you're black.
Yeah,
it's very
exactly.
dangerous.
That was some white privilege right there. That was some white privilege. Yeah, black people like, is Mississippi dangerous?
Yeah.
What? What?
Yeah.
Is Mississippi dangerous?
This is for you, Redban. This is your buddy again. 2 NASA astronauts docked at the International Space Station this week aboard SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule, making the first time a private aerospace company has sent humans into orbit. Astronauts so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so and so atop a Falcon 9 rocket and then flew 19 hours to the station 250 miles above Earth's surface. So this is great news. Did you see him bump his head when he was coming out, the old guy? Did you see it?
No, I didn't see
Oh,
that.
he kept dabbing, he's an old guy, He got too excited. He came out and he bumped his head right on the fire and he kept dabbing it. Did you see it,
No,
Ben?
I just heard they just kept referring to him as Bob and Doug.
Yeah, that's
On
the
the,
names.
No, but I'm thinking
They're
of
very ordinary
SCTV,
guys.
Dumb
and
and
the
Dumber.
Bob and Doug McKenzie.
I tell you right now, any one of us in this room could have done what they did. It's all automatic. They don't touch anything, Alonzo. They don't touch anything.
But I get it. Like, this is a good thing, but it's still not like we're buying tickets to go into outer space. Like, they talk about this being a private enterprise, but it's still a multi-billion-dollar project, and the government did invest money in it. You can't just
Fuck the roads. We don't need to fix the roads.
right. You can't just
Fuck the bridges.
go to outer space. There's still some things involved. I think scientists should be working on how we're having sex workers with no physical contact. I want science to figure that one out.
And everybody wants to go to Mars. Who wants to go to Mars? Why is there something on Mars they're not telling us
It's
about?
a better neighborhood than Mississippi.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. They don't have police brutality on Mars.
That is
So
safer,
speak for yourself.
safer than Mississippi.
Oh my
I'll
God!
take my chances with the Martians.
I'm gonna lock you guys in. I'm not gonna let anybody leave. I'm gonna do this podcast as long. This is too much fun. Just keep playing this. Maybe we'll see him bump his head. But yeah. How bad does your marriage have to be to want to blast off out of this, and go to another planet? How much do you have to hate your wife?
I've been there a few days.
I think here it comes.
Watch him. The second guy out. He's the older guy. He's just gonna bash his head on that bulkhead. It's called a bulkhead. Hey, how
Having
you
a
doing?
lip kiss.
What took you so long? All right, let's get this photo op over with and get the hell out of
we
here.
go.
Boom! There it goes. Bam.
Ouch.
Oh, there.
Not exactly a graceful entrance.
No. Oh man. I don't know. I don't understand that. There's a lot of jobs, but I don't know if I'd like that job.
Yeah, I don't want to hang out with those guys. Look at those guys. They look like the worst guys ever to hang out with. They look boring as fuck.
I wonder if they have alcohol up there.
No, I don't think so.
If they're going to be up there a long time, they're not even the officers on the ship, the pilots have access to alcohol in the Navy.
I don't know. Maybe they do.
I wouldn't be surprised if they had
Now
some
watch him. He's
testing.
going to keep. If it was me, I would ignore it.
Yeah, why does he keep on
He
touching
keeps
his head?
dabbing
He's
it.
looking,
He's
he's
looking
looking
for
for
blood there.
Man, he must have hit it hard. He's looking for blood.
Oh, and he keeps. Then he's going to take a tissue out in a little bit, and he's going to dab it again. And he's
Must
going to
be
look at his
bleeding.
fingers,
I think
examine
he's bleeding.
his. Yeah, take. No, now he's going to lick his. Yeah, okay. Now what are you going to do, Grandpa?
Now he's got COVID and he's going to
geez.
spread.
Oh, there he goes again.
It's not safe to lick a cut.
I know.
In the time of
What
the
is he, a cat?
coronavirus.
Is he a cat?
Coronavirus. You can't just be cutting yourself. and
Oh, look.
licking.
He must. Look at him. He's just, what the fuck?
What the
Oh,
heck?
man,
going on?
He knocked the shit out
He's
of
getting
himself.
lightheaded.
It didn't seem like he hit it that hard either when he...
Well,
Oh,
look
no.
at him.
He's freaking out.
Man,
Stroke
look,
is no joke.
They're looking at him like, what the hell?
Come on, don't bring attention to it. You bumped your head. Now grow up. Stop crying.
What's he doing?
Someone get him his helmet.
Wait.
This is-
Oh,
now
it's
we
probably
know-
throbbing
now we know
because
why.
of the zero gravity. So it's probably
Now you know why astronauts used to wear those big helmets all the time, because you got to protect your head. That's hilarious.
Some overseas news. Some items of interest from Lake Victoria in Kenya, the largest lake in Africa, is overflowing because of the heavy rain. Some places get no rain, and some places get too much rain, and they have flooding. And some of the, I'm paraphrasing now because I feel like I have to get rid of these items of interest before.
Have any of you guys been to Africa?
Yes, I've been to Cairo.
Okay, that's northern. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to Cape Town. I was actually at Cape Town right before all this started. Cape Town Comedy Festival. Amazing.
What month was this?
End of February, first week of March. I came back March
2020.
10th. I came back March 10th, yeah. One of the most amazing places I've ever been. Just a beautiful
Did you see Tabletop Mountain?
Great, yeah. We went up. I went up on Tabletop. We did we didn't do like a full safari, but we did a day trip safari, and just amazing place. Amazing, super nice people. Fascinating. Weather was beautiful. Yeah, it was just a really good vibe.
Oh, you got back just in time, man. You've been
I'm telling you, man. I got back on March 11th. Like when you say I got back, I literally. I've been joking about it. Like I came from Africa to America, and the first thing they told me was get some toilet paper. And I was like, wait a minute, that's supposed to be over there, not here. But,
how many shows did you do?
What did we do? We did I want to say 9 shows in 11 days or something like that. Yeah.
Wow, they had
That's
you.
awesome.
You did a lot of shows. Mm-hmm. See, this is what's great about the items of interest. See, conversation comes up from the items of interest.
I can't believe the other guests didn't see that. I mean, they didn't feel.
Well, they thought I was ignoring them, or I wasn't talking to them, and they were wondering why they were here. And
yeah, those are the beaches.
They get antsy.
It's a great city.
I want to go there too.
The other great thing about Cape Town, it's a great walking city. You know,
it's like New York.
Yeah, where you just walk around and see so much of it on foot. Really cool. Really cool.
Wow.
So that was the last, I guess, show.
My last gig.
Yeah. Mine was March 11th at the Comedy Store, March 11th, and then they shut the whole thing down.
My actual last gig, I think, was the 14th. The Saturday night, I did the Laugh Factory, and then Sunday they closed like all clubs through the city.
So you haven't been on stage since then?
Well, I've done the Laugh Factory live streams. You know,
how much did they pay you?
A few $100. So it was cool. Yeah.
How's that? You just do stand up in front of the screen?
No, you do it for nobody. There's no audience.
That other fella is there from Hot Tub.
Yeah, Craig Robinson's there. Not always, but sometimes Craig's there doing keyboards and jokes. But you do the show from the stage with no audience, and they just have a camera set up, and it goes out on YouTube.
The reason I'm glad you're here, Alonzo, is a lot of times the entertainers they get they're doing real well. It's harder to get them to appear. You know what I mean? That's why I'm so happy you're here now.
Thank you. I wish I was in that category. And, I have some friends who are like, they're not going to work. Like, they're like, I ain't doing the Zooms. And I was like, I don't have that much money where I could just kick back and wait for the whole pandemic to end.
Right.
You know, I'm lucky enough. I'm okay for now. You know what I mean? But like, if this thing goes on for another year, it's like, I'm going to have to make some money somehow.
Sell some of those motorcycles.
Let's not get crazy.
And, your last performance was 1999. It's nice that we stayed friends, you know.
Yeah.
Brian didn't even know that there was a pandemic. Right? He was just home.
And Doug,
I was actually on a cruise ship. I was on the last cruise ship to probably be out at sea when everything broke, because we got back on that Monday. I think that was the 16th.
Did they catch you early?
Yeah, well, man, I was just praying that we didn't get trapped out there. So my last a
lot of people got trapped on the cruise ship.
Yeah, it was the 16th. Yeah. We came back. So yeah, if anybody got sick, like one person got sick on the cruise ship, they're like in San Francisco, they would hold you out for 14 days. And then when you came back, you had to spend another 14 days in quarantine. So I was just praying nobody got sick while I was on the ship.
I was on my way to a cruise gig. Like Friday, March 13th, I flew to Miami, and the cruise was supposed to leave Saturday the 14th. Mm-hmm. And as we're landing, it's a jazz cruise. I've been doing these for years. I love them. As we're landing, some of the other artists are on the plane, and all of our phones start buzzing. Like, as soon as you turn on the phone, like, we're all getting texts. And we're like, and the text is cruise canceled, cruise canceled, cruise canceled. And I literally just walked in, and I walked over to the airline counter, and I said, hey, do you have any flights back to L.A.? And they were like, Yeah, it was like 4:30. They said, we got a 7 o'clock flight. I was like, book it. And I just went downstairs, took my luggage, checked it back in, and flew back home.
Wow.
Wow. That's what, yeah.
So, yeah, it would have been a bad time. Now, what do you think? Do you think cruises are coming back? I think they will.
Yeah, Carnival is set to come back in August, but I don't think they're going to come back the same. From what I understand, they're going to cut out the buffets. It's because you can't really social distance on a cruise ship.
I heard that each comic is going to have to go to each individual room, one at a time.
I heard that I heard about them cutting the buffets, but I think.
Yeah, I heard that too. That
I think Vegas also is cutting them out, but I think ships are going to be the cleanest place on earth. Because they can't risk an outbreak. You know what I mean? Like if there was an outbreak of the virus on Carnival Cruise, that would put them out of business. People wouldn't.
They already
people wouldn't take another chance. Like I think there's people who like, all right, I'll take a chance once.
Right.
But if it happens again,
I don't know about that because a lot of the people were getting sick before the pandemic on cruise ships.
Yeah.
They're going to have to redo the filter system of the air or something.
Right. They'll come up with. They have to
they're desperate to come back, so they're going to come up.
They have to be cleaner than average. They can't be just okay. They got to be spotless and make sure. I think if you get sick on a cruise ship, they're going to throw you overboard and just say, "Oh, he jumped."
They got to get those Filipinos to wash their hands.
It's good he's not racist at all. He's an open-minded
Joe Coy? You know Joe?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know him. I want to meet him. I've seen his show.
Well, not with comments like that. You're not going to meet Joe
Coy. He is something else. He's good, huh? Do you like Joe Coy?
Not only is Joe good, and I've known Joe. Like I met Joe when he was hosting at the Laugh Factory.
Yeah, I never met him then. He blew up. He was gone.
And he
right?
used to after the shows, he'd be out there handing out his business cards and stuff. Like he's always been good at self promotion, but he blew up so much in the I think it started with the Asian community and then grew from there. He's a great guy, but he showed something like, I think he was in the Philippines or something like that, but wherever it was, like they stopped traffic for his motorcade. Like he's so famous there.
Huge.
Such a big name that it was like he was.
And he's not even a boxer.
Head of state coming in, Yeah. There's another comment to keep him off of this podcast.
Could you
not a chance.
I want to be on his.
Not a chance.
I want to be on. I heard he has a podcast. And he lives in L.A. I want to be on his podcast. I want to meet him because
Yeah, he does live here. He.
Could you ask him if Brian Holtzman can go on his podcast?
All right, we'll see what we can do.
No, I mean it. I saw his ad.
I haven't talked to him in a while. We bump into each other. Last time I saw him was last summer.
At a Filipino restaurant.
There's no way he's doing anything.
He had a bunch of chickens in his hand, and he was something about balut or something.
This is only making me wonder, Doug, what was Brian saying about us last week?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. About having all blacks on the show.
It's true at work. The guys at work, they're really your friends at work. And then as soon as you leave that room, you're the biggest asshole at work. But, that's nice, man.
No, Joe, he's a good guy, though. Joe's a nice guy.
So chunks of the land in Tarzana, Uganda, and Kenya are breaking off because of the flood, and it's clogging up the entrance to the Nile. So it's a big problem with the Lake Victoria overflowing.
I don't know how we got back to that.
Well, that's items of interest. You don't know where they're going to go.
I see how you got the name for this podcast. There.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
With the topics of interest.
Oh, there it is. Look at it. Oh, my God. It just kept raining. And it didn't stop. And
nature is a force, man. Nature.
Man.
Like,
what are they trying? Oh, somebody's motorbike. Let it go. Let it go.
Did you pull all these African things up because you had black guests? I mean, is that the theme that you go? Just topics? Okay.
This is Steve. You want to hear about Steve, the actor Steve Buscemi?
Buscemi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is that? Who is he?
Steve Buscemi is living with a gaping void, said so-and-so and so-and-so. His wife, artist and dance instructor, Joe Andrew, died of ovarian cancer in January 2019, and as he rides out the pandemic lockdown alone in his 3-story Brooklyn brownstone Yeah, he's a great actor.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
His wife died.
Wow, that's harsh.
But he's going to be in a new movie with the guy from Saturday Night Live who wanted everybody to sign a release.
Pete Davidson.
Right.
Yeah.
And also your friend from ATC, Bill Burr, is going to be in that movie as well.
Yeah.
What's it about?
It's about, it's a story. It's
He becomes a fireman or something
a tattoo
like
artist and his father, it's just a nice story.
that. And then there's toenail fungus on the thing.
Yeah. Is that your next? Is that the next item up from
That's the title of my next special.
An Australian man was arrested after he was hired to fulfill another man's sexual fantasy of being tied up and threatened, and then showed up at the wrong house. Terrence Leroy and a partner entered a home armed with a machete to act out their client's fantasy and found a man in bed. Is your name Kevin? They asked. The startled man said it was not. That's a nice guy. No, it's not. In Queens, they'd say, "Hey, get the out of."
Man, that's crazy. So you hire some guys to come in and tie you up and have sex with you or something, and they go to the wrong house. Man.
And then they asked, and Larry shook his hand and said, "Sorry, mate." Leroy was later arrested, but was acquitted last week by a judge who said that the evidence indicated his intimidating actions were the result of a mistake. The facts of the case are unusual, the judge said.
How do you apologize to your neighbor, right? When you hired some guys to come in the middle of the night and tie you up and have sex with you, and they went to the wrong house, how do you apologize to your neighbor for that? Like, oh, man.
You're going to move.
They went to 23:45.
They went to 23:45. No, I told them 23:48. I told them 20. See, they wrote the 5 wrong. No, I'm sorry you got tied up and raped. But really, if they could write their 5. See, this is why you got to type the address and not write it down.
Exactly.
Because they mixed up the 5 and the 8. And sorry, you'll get over it.
Your boss may be a little nosy about your personal life than usual, said so-and-so and so-and-so. Some companies are concerned that many safeguards put in place at work to limit the spread of the coronavirus could be undone if workers are taking risks off the job. Employees have no legal obligation to disclose how they spend their personal time, so employers are trying to maintain safe working environment. Have to tread carefully to avoid violating employee privacy. So watch out. Your employee may want you to tell them about being tied up.
So the guy who tied you up, was he tested?
Was he coughing at all?
Coughing? Did he have a wet cough when he tied you up?
Hey, this is on the table. I don't know if you need that. Goes to something. That was on the table.
All right. Almost 31% of Americans say they experience problems paying bills for housing, food, utilities, credit cards, and medical costs as a result of the coronavirus. Among African Americans, that number climbs to 48%.
Again, with 20% of the population unemployed and so on, really, people are having trouble paying their bills. Man, you got a genius writing that stuff.
The U.S. Treasury sent out over $48 billion in unemployment payments in April, more than 3 times as much as the biggest monthly payment in 2709. Did you get you file for unemployment?
Yeah.
Good. You get it?
Yeah.
How about you, Doug? You all right?
Yeah, I'm just, trying to get some things handled.
How about you, Ben? You all right?
Yeah, thank you.
You know what's weird about my unemployment? Like, I'm a corporation, so I work for myself. So I laid myself off because my corporation had no business. Like, that's how it worked legally. That's how it broke down. So it's crazy, but that's how it works,
How'd you break the news to yourself?
It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I sat myself down and I said, listen, it's not you. It's not you. It's the economy. It's the virus. The clubs have all
Don't
shut
take
down.
it hard. Don't
You're
take it
doing,
hard.
you're doing a great job. It's just that things have slowed. We're not taking in any money, and we're gonna. You're not fired. You're not fired. We just have to let you go for a while.
Please understand.
Until we can pick things back up. No, please. No, put the shotgun down. Put the shotgun down.
You might be the best guest so far on items of interest. He gets it. You know, the conversation comes from the items of interest. Otherwise, what are you going to talk about? Your merchandise? Your bullshit merchandise after your bullshit show? You know, nobody gives a fuck about your merchandise, okay?
This is what I want to talk about. Brian Holtzman texts in all caps.
Oh, yeah.
Has anyone else noticed that?
Oh, yeah. You know, and let me explain this to anybody who's listening, because I get people...
Please, explain this to me.
People write back to me. They say I'm yelling. Remember in grammar school, and they always said, you know, this is uppercase, and this is lowercase, and this is uppercase, and this... That's over now. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. Just because somebody said if it's all caps, somehow you're yelling. Why? Because some stupid ass said it, right? But it looks easier to read. It's easier to type. You hit the button twice, so they're all caps. It's easier for me to read. It's easier to type. It's not uppercase, lowercase, lowercase, like a 3-year-old in grammar school. Oh, that's a capital letter. That's a lower. You know what I mean? You know, it comes back to me that way. So that's what that is. I'm not yelling at anybody. I just happen to like it.
But that's how people take it.
Yeah, every time you text me, I hear your voice yelling at me.
Yeah.
Urgent. Whoa.
That's how I take it.
Do I need to get in my car, drive into the hospital?
Because whenever I talk to you, you are yelling at me.
Right.
So it's the same thing.
The last time we met was at the Laugh Factory Christmas party.
Mhm. Yeah.
You had trouble getting in. I had to let them know.
Good thing I had you. Good thing I had a Holtzman there. You need a guy. Anytime you want to get right, if you want to get into a party, you got to know a guy. So I knew a guy.
Lisa S.U. I guess that's Korean, maybe. CEO of Chipmaker. It's not Irish. CEO of Chipmaker AMD was the highest paid chief of an S&P 500 last firm, earning a total of $58.5 million. So if you're a corporation, do you have to pay your taxes every 3 months? Is that what you do?
Yeah,
You have to send them a check?
You got to pay quarterly, and you got to...
you have to figure out how much to give them.
Well, yeah, I have to pay it like paying the employees' taxes. Like there's two sets. You got to pay the corporate. But I'm not like those corporations where I get, stealing money from the government and tax breaks. Like I didn't give myself a $25 million bonus at the end of the year.
Right.
I don't have any of those problems, She made $58 million. Is she going to survive through the pandemic? Is she going to be able to pay her bills?
I don't know. A total of $50 million, and becoming the first woman to head the list. AMD stock rose 156% for the year. U.S. consumer spending fell by a record 13.6% in April, the steepest decline for records tracing back to 1959. Personal income, which includes wages, interest, and dividends, increased 10.5%, reflecting a sharp rise in government payments through the federal rescue programs. I'm going kind of fast because I want to talk to you guys more than, I don't want to run out of time. It's probably over an hour already now. This podcast goes so fast because everybody's so excited
Get back
to be
to the
here.
list.
A Watchdog report found that 879,415 high-income individuals altogether failed to pay $45.7 billion in taxes from 2014 to 2014 to 2016. The IRS didn't put 326,579 of the cases into its enforcement system. Didn't even check them.
That's the category you want to get into.
And closed 42,601 of the cases without ever working on them.
Right.
But they'll knock on my door.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
They'll audit me,
You want to get rich enough, like they say, like if you steal $100, you go to jail. But if you steal $100 million, you meet the president. You know what I mean? Like you want to be rich enough that they ignore your crime. So yeah, just what you said. If you don't pay your tax, like you owe $1,000 to the IRS, they will hound you.
They'll send you a letter
forever.
You want to make a payment program?
But if you owe them like $1.4 million, they're like, that was the investigation.
The FDA added antidepressant medication Zoloft to its list of drugs in shortage. That's something about drugs. This is just a quick one.
That's depression, right?
Maybe so.
Yeah.
The Congressional Budget Office warned this week that it could take a decade for the economy to fully recover. Okay. Elon Musk. Here you go. Another one for your friend over there. Tesla CEO Elon Musk earned a performance payout worth roughly $775 million last week. Said so and so and so and so and so and so. It was the first of 12 benchmarks of compensation package that could net Musk an unbelievable $55 billion in the company archives certain milestones. Musk, who what that means is you reach an earnings and then they give you a big bonus for
if he
reaching
does
that benchmark, whatever that is.
In a contract he wrote with himself.
Yeah, him and his spaceship friends.
Yeah, good for him. What are you gonna do? I mean, it's a haves and have-nots, right? So he's in that thing where
Received a 30-day package, earning $20 billion in revenue in the fourth quarter. Musk received 1.7 Tesla shares. Oh, they love those Teslas. My Redban's got one, and my niece, the baby doctor in Alexandria, Virginia's got one too. Everybody who has it loves them.
What kind you got, Redban?
The X, the one with the Falcon door wings.
Oh, that's the truck, right?
Yeah, SUV one.
You like it?
I love it. It's the best. Once you have one, it's really hard to drive. Like I have a Civic also. It's really hard for me to drive like a regular car because it's just it feels dumb. It feels slow.
You got one?
No interest.
He took me for a ride, and I lost a little bit of my bowels.
And how?
No, it's immediate. It's not.
I know.
Yeah.
I've been in them. I've driven them. Yeah, the torque is immediate.
There's no. It's just like a spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
You like them, Alonzo?
Nah, not my thing.
You like motorcycles?
I like motorcycles and I like cars. I still like engines. Like I get it, the tech of the Tesla, and I get why people like it, but it's not my thing. It doesn't have any feel to it. It's just.
And can you go to San Francisco on one charge now, or is yet?
It goes up to the newest ones go up to like 340 miles, and it takes like 20, 30 minutes to supercharge. So you can drive there. Yeah.
But they're not big. They're still not big in the middle of the country. Because people drive too far and they don't have the chargers.
They like their trucks. They like their trucks.
And this and that, yeah. So Teslas are a big coastal thing. And California, like there's probably more Teslas in California
it's
than
the new
the rest
Range
of the
Rover.
country. Yeah,
it's the new Range Rover.
This is a place where everyone drives them, but
the big
like
Range.
in Michigan, I don't even know if they have them. They still have that thing with the dealers can't
right.
They got to have car dealers, and Tesla doesn't have car dealers, so.
I imagine they should be shipping a lot of those overseas too.
Oh, they're worldwide. Yeah, it's big.
What about the actor? He builds his own motorcycles.
Keanu Reeves.
You like that motorcycle?
When it came out, the joke was, okay, once all his friends buy him, who's he going to sell them to? I mean, they start at $70,000. It's each one is handmade. They're fantastic. They're amazing. But it's like, do you have the money? I'm not that funny yet. That I have I would love to.
That's a good way to put it. That's
and
funny.
I know people, who work for him. I've been down to the company. He is a great guy. He loves motorcycles, and this is like his pet project. But no, they're not cheap.
I didn't even know about this. This is awesome.
Yeah, each one is handmade, bespoke to that owner. They literally take your measurements and figure out how to put the
like a shoe,
so
like a shoe.
Right, so it'll be comfortable for you. Yeah, no, it's a great thing, but you got.
Wow.
Where's the factory?
Down in the South Bay somewhere. Somewhere down in.
They're very pretty.
You couldn't talk to them while you're down there.
That makes a lot of sense. They measure your height.
Oh no, I ain't getting the hookup. No, I ain't, they ain't
you
no
can
hookup.
say, hey man, y'all look out for a brother.
Nah, man, I ain't.
So
Doug, now you've been in those situations, right, where you're known, you're common, you've done TV, you got this or that. But when you're around people who are really famous, you understand that there's a line. Like I joke about it all the time, right? Because I do Leno's Garage with Jay Leno.
Oh, wow.
And people and I said, listen, let me tell you the difference. They lend it to me. They give it to Jay.
Right.
They're like, yeah, you could ride this around for a week. But we want it back, But with Jay, they're like, nah, go ahead and keep it. But it's it's all good. I mean, I got no beef with it. I've had more fun and gotten to play with more toys and do things like that I never would have. But yeah, so when it comes to something like, will Keanu hook you up? Like, I'm not another movie star. You know what I mean? Like, if I was another movie star, then maybe I'd be rolling in that world.
That's an ugly truck. Is that the new truck?
It's the Cybertruck.
That's Redban's next vehicle.
Yeah.
I
I don't know about that. I don't like that one.
But that makes sense, though. They measure how long your arms are, how long your legs are, and they build a motorcycle around you.
Yeah.
Redban, let me ask you this. I don't want to keep remembering because I like those. Because how long does it take you to charge it at home? Like when you're at home?
It depends. You can get like a faster charger, you know, like if you have like a garage or an outlet, and that usually takes like a couple hours. Usually people just put it, like when they go to bed, they just plug it in.
Is that what you do?
No, I just supercharge mostly, or I live next to a charger that I just go to.
So you don't have one at home?
No, I mean, I could plug it in, but if you just have like a power outlet and you try to charge it, it's like 4 miles an hour. So,
but I heard that the superchargers will wear the battery out if you just keep hooking it up to a supercharger.
Yeah, it's not the best, but the charger that's near my house is a faster charger. It's like one of those free things, and it takes like 6 hours, so that's okay. So I'll just.
All right.
So you've been to Jay's garage?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been to Jay's garage a few times. Yeah.
I'm always curious. What is Jay going to do with all his collection?
People ask that. I have no idea. Never asked him. I would imagine that they'll make some kind of museum. That's the only thing you could do with it. But it is.
Yeah, because you know what? I went
such
to
an amazing place and collection.
I went to the Pedersen Museum here in Los Angeles, and I was a bit disappointed. You know, just pay one price and let me see all what you have.
Yeah.
You got to pay one price and you see the top floor, and then they have a thing called the vault. That's extra money.
Oh, really? I hate when places do
And then I said, well, why can't I just see the vault with the one price? You know, I was a little bit and in the selection, too. I mean, there was so many great cars out there.
Are you guys still taping that, Alonzo?
Jay's Garage? Yeah, he still does it. Yeah. So this episode, he blindfolded me, and I had to guess what car I was in.
Wow.
Yeah. I got 3 out of 4.
No shit.
So you're a car guy yourself.
And I the funny thing was on this one, this is the Mustang, I said it, but I didn't stop there. I overthought it, right? So I said, oh, Mustang, and they're like, nah, it's not that, it's something else. And I kept talking.
So tell us the 3 you got and the one you didn't.
So I didn't get the Mustang. I did get the Porsche GT. I got the Duesenberg. And I forget the other one I got.
Man, they should just give you a car for being on there like that. I mean, you know, the company should just be like,
no,
hey, man.
Again, they launched. I got this one. That's the Porsche GT. As a matter of fact, that is the same car that, Paul Walker from the Fast and Furious. When he died in one of those, he was. That's what they were.
That's the
driving.
one he was in when he got
Not
killed?
That specific one, but one like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So they just let you have the car for a week? That's it? What kind of?
No, they didn't. But when I was doing a car show, I hosted a car show for a while, and a few companies loaned me cars.
Man, now that's an insult. You host a car show, and they can't give you the car. They just let you borrow the car.
That's how the game's played.
That's how the game's played for us. I bet, like you said, Jay Leno, they don't do that to him.
Whoa. Let's not, Doug. Let's not split hairs here.
So you guessed this car?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess the Duesenberg.
I'm sure it was a clerical error of some kind.
I guess the Duesenberg.
That's great.
And only because I was with Jay Leno. So part of it is that when you're with Jay Leno, you know it's going to be something crazy. It's not going to be like a 55 Chevy. You know what I mean? It's like it's going to be a Duesenberg. It's going to be something crazy.
And we started at the same time, I think. You started in 1988?
93. I started in 93.
Comedy?
Yeah.
Man, you've done very well for yourself.
Thank you.
I always see Jay Leno just driving around here in Burbank. He'll be like in an old fire truck or something like that.
I've seen him in a Thunderbird before.
The collection is
Convertible.
insane. But I'll tell you this, and this is like very cool. He knows every car in his collection, and they're all plugged into chargers, ready to drive. And he drives different ones, but it's not like some rich guy who just bought them and threw them in a hangar or something. Like he's involved with it. It really is his thing.
Well, that's what he used to do when he was starting out. He was a Rolls-Royce mechanic and he used to drive the Rolls-Royce into Manhattan to do his shows and then drive them back. So he's a master mechanic. They have to build their own parts for some of these vehicles He's got a whole list of workers.
Oh yeah, he
machine
has a
shop,
crew,
everything. Yeah,
and he had a 3D printer before anyone knew what it was. Like he had one because he'd have to make parts for a car that don't exist anymore. So they'd get a picture and 3D print it. And then Adam Carolla, who's another collector. That was my first Tonight Show. Boy, that's quality video. Carolla,
not enough pixels.
He collects vintage cars, and he said sometimes, he'll need a part. Like he'll need a light switch for a 1952 Lamborghini or something, and he'll go to Jay, and then Jay's people will make it, and he'd be like, all right, now I got it. Yeah.
So
Wow.
cool.
Man, that's so
fascinating.
cool.
That's fascinating.
You know what I like about Jay Leno is, first of all, I think he got a bad rap with that Conan O'Brien deal. That's my personal opinion.
Oh, yeah. I'll talk about. Go ahead with what you were going to say. Make
I
your
mean,
point.
if you ever seen Jay Leno, I saw him at the USO thing. I used to volunteer there, and I know you've been in performing with them a lot. I mean, if you haven't seen Jay Leno, he showed up at the Laugh Factory at 6 a.m. in the morning, and he did his jokes, and it's just, he is worth every single penny. I mean, he is just...
He's a good guy, and I saw him when all that was going on, and he said the reason he was upset, like they were blaming him for Conan, he said, I don't run NBC. Like I'm not in charge. And he said, the reason they got rid of Conan was the Tonight Show lost money. And the Tonight Show never loses money. Like in all the years, what did it start in the 60s or whatever?
Jim Palmer,
Jack Paar.
Jack Paar.
Paar, and like it's always been just a solid show, and then it kind of dipped with Conan, and they were like, "Oh no, we can't have that." But so they blamed Jay, and he was like, "I'm not in charge of NBC. Like I work there, yeah, he's high paid, but he's still a worker. He's not the man."
What what entertainer is going to, when offered that job, say no?
Right, exactly.
Because I want somehow to stick up for Conan. Conan already had a show on the East Coast. He wasn't satisfied with that. Would you have been satisfied on the show with the East Coast?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Not one of the comics who tried to shit on Jay would have turned it down if they offered them the job.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
if they'd have said, "Hey, we're going to fire Conan and give you the job," you'd be like, "Conan who? Conan, get rid of that son of a bitch." You know. So what are you going to do? It's one of those things. What else we got, Brian?
Hipsters may be onto something after all when it comes to beards, at least. A new study suggests that hair in beards may have evolved over time to help cushion old-time men from blows to the head. And that's all I want to talk about on that.
So the fact that you want to punch a hipster in the face is why they have the beard, to cushion that punch a little bit.
They got a lot of data, probably.
Shock-absorbing beards, all right? The other one was climate change making hurricanes stronger. We all know about that. Climate change, the water in the oceans will increase, and hot water makes more terrible hurricanes. Right, Ben?
I'm assuming.
So you're making fun of me right now?
No.
This one is for...
When's the tide? I don't think you gave the tide.
Oh, this one is for Redban. This is a good one for Redban. Researchers in Australia unlocked internet speeds high enough to download more than 1,000 high-definition movies in less than a second, said so-and-so and so-and-so. Using a single fiber optic wire linked between two campuses in Melbourne, the team logged a data speed of 44.2 terabits.
Yeah. Damn.
Whatever terabits are, per second, or roughly 1 million times faster than the average internet speed in the U.S.
1 million?
They did it using a device called a microcomb that replaces the 80 or so lasers in modern fiber optic telecom equipment. While the technology is unlikely to boost our Netflix downloads anytime soon, the fact that such speeds were achieved on existing internet infrastructure suggests the fibers already in the ground can continue to be the backbone of communication networks now and in the future.
Suggest I'm paying too much for my Time Warner cable bill each month.
So Redban, you know this stuff?
Yeah.
Here's my question.
All right.
So I upgraded and I got a 5G, right? And it's super fast. And it's in my office downstairs. And then I have one of those home networks with the Luma things.
Right.
But they won't switch over to the 5G. They still work on the old system. So what the hell? Then I looked it up online and they said, yeah, Luma's out of business. So
Oh, you mean like you need wireless, like a wireless hotspots in your house?
5G, yeah, but I want them to be 5G, not the old whatever.
Right. There's a really good company. There's a few different things you can do. You can just use, like, Google has one, like these little things right here, little hotspots and stuff like that.
So what you're saying is I got to buy new ones. I can't make my old ones work with the new speed.
Probably not. You probably have an old wireless router, and you have such fast internet. There's a few different ones that companies that make really good ones. There's one called Amplify. Alien is the one I have, and it's one of the. Oh, I'll show you. Amplify Alien. Amplify Alien is one of the fastest wireless router things, and you could actually buy a couple of these, and they could work with each other. I would start off with one and see if you're getting fast speed, and then you could buy two if you want to put one downstairs to boost
so
it.
I got to buy a new, so I can't make the old ones work.
Probably not. It's probably like old technology.
That makes sense.
Who's your internet?
Spectrum.
That's what I have. Spectrum.
Yeah.
And I'm having problems. My
Spectrum
kids
5G is fast. It's 200 and something
Yeah, I just got 1
megabytes
gig
per second. Yeah,
here and at my house.
Spectrum's AT&T, right?
No.
No.
It used to be Chargers.
You use Spectrum too?
Yeah.
Yeah, Spectrum's been down a lot lately for me.
Like they had like time,
Yeah.
like they bought a few.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's the thing that sucks about, like, you're joking about your cable, but that is the thing that sucks. You don't have a choice. Wherever you live, that's what you get. You know,
my kids have been complaining about the game has been delaying. They call it lagging.
Lag, yeah.
With Spectrum.
Yeah.
And I upgraded to a faster one, and it's still doing it.
That could be your Wi-Fi network, like what Alonzo is talking about. Unless it's hardwired in right from the box, Wi-Fi, you have to have pretty good Wi-Fi for gaming. So maybe your Wi-Fi.
So you got to buy some of these gizmos too.
Complain too, because they could be throttling you.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, Spectrum's one of the few that doesn't throttle the internet.
There's no
Really?
there's no crime here.
Because I had the 300 meg, and then I started bitching because it kept coming in at like 79, and then so I just did the
speed test.
Yeah, the speed test. I was always coming in low, not 300, 200. And then when I started to write a complaint letter, then they get the reset everything, which I had already done. So I think they already knew.
That's Spectrum too?
Yeah. But, maybe they're not. But as soon as I...
right there? Let me see yours.
Don't they always say you need a router, another router in the house?
When I'm in my office right next to the router, I get like 200 and something.
Yeah.
But upstairs, I can't even get the network.
So can you add another router upstairs?
So I got to add another.
That's what you're getting right now?
Yeah, but that's with me streaming HD video and stuff like that right now. So it's slow, really slow right now. Yes. So your problem is you need better coverage in your house if it's fast in your office. And
so I got to buy a new gizmo.
yeah,
I asked Ian Edwards to come on the show today too.
how's he?
He's doing fine, but he said he was lazy yesterday and he had a bunch of work to do today, so he didn't make it.
Ian's great.
He's
good. He's from Long Island. We both worked at a Burger King's.
Really? I knew he's
it.
from New York, but Ian is just, as a writer, like, I mean, he's a great comic.
Oh yeah.
But like the construction of what he writes, we were talking about this. I don't know if you guys have this, how certain comics are like intimidating to be around because they're so good at what they do. Like he's like that. Like Ian's such a good writer. It's like, okay, let me just put away my little joke book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's
very
great.
unique.
Yeah.
Wow, I feel bad because one night at the Comedy Store I told him to change a word. I hope he didn't get insulted.
Oh, yeah, that's why he's not on. That's why he's not here today. That's why he's not here. You with your change a word.
I thought this word would make better and would pickle a bit.
They change a word. They change your fucking act.
This one is close to home here. This one is about somebody I think everybody can knows. Joe Rogan, king of all podcasting. Joe Rogan is the new mainstream media, said so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. Already the king of podcasting, the 52-year-old comedian, MMA. Are you a fan of that MMA?
Very little. I don't know it.
I was afraid of it until I realized they could just tap out, and if they had enough, they can say it's over.
Yeah, I don't know it enough to say I'm a fan, but
how about you, Doug?
Yeah, huge. I mean, I kind of got away from. I used to do it. I used to train with the Gracies. I trained with the Machados.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, I trained with all of them.
This is a side of you.
Yeah, I was really into it, and I couldn't, like after rolling or whatever. The next day, they try to do comedy, you be stiff, your neck, you up trying to. So I had to just put it down.
How about you, Ben? You done anything?
No, I'm not. I mean, I've watched a little bit, but I'm not into it. I was more into boxing, and then I kind of lost that.
I got a great book about Jewish boxers. My grandfather was a boxer, and it's about all the boxers. It's back in the day. That was some sport.
Fighting.
Oh man,
fighting, any kind of fighting. That is a hard way to make a living.
It really is.
That is a hard way to make a living.
They weren't kidding around back then.
Yeah,
Jeez.
that was bare knuckles back then, right?
And then even when they put gloves on, it was not that thick.
Yeah. But even now, like, I got a friend whose daughter's an MMA fighter, and she said, "Yeah, I can't go watch her fight.
No,
Like,
can't imagine
it's
you want to
too much to watch her kid.
get punched in the face.
Yeah, it's a tough gig.
Unless it's a redheaded kid.
What's the story about Rogan? So what is his?
52-year-old comedian, MMA color commentator, and former host of Fear Factor announced a $100 million deal last week that will move his podcast exclusively to Spotify and arguably make him the world's richest broadcaster. But money is not the only reason this deal matters. The Joe Rogan Experience scores 190 million downloads a month because Rogan's long interviews with athletes and intellectuals and CEOs and sometimes controversial conspiracy theories are freewheeling in a way most print and broadcast news sources can't be. Through the right likes, he says that the elite left controls the culture. Rogan's popularity shows that perhaps that's no longer true. Indeed, his whole is curious, not particularly ideology. That word, ideology. Based toward things that work, baffled by the state of both parties, is where so many Americans are right now. That's his power. And I don't know if you guys know, Redban is the co-creator of that podcast.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
The
cool.
first time you were on, I think I was there.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Redban was recruited from back in Ohio. Rogan told him to come out to California, I believe, and work with him. And he's the co-creator. So you can imagine how thankful I am that he's given me a chance to see how...
Well, I mean, Joe's podcast is great.
You've been on it.
Yeah, I've been on a few times. And my thing with Joe, he's still Joe. You know what I mean? He's still the same guy.
Yeah, that has gone to his head. Yeah,
right, he's still the same guy. And I think that's what that's one of the things people relate to. Like, he's still... Yeah, and when it comes to his career, I don't know how long. I've probably known Joe 20 years. Like, he's one of the guys, things just fall. Not to say he doesn't work hard, because he does all that. But things fall into place for Joe.
Everything
it's amazing.
he touches turns to
gold.
Everything
turns to gold. To where it's like, Joe, where you're like, Joe, could you touch me on the head? Could you just touch me on the head just so it's really like even the MMA, like the fact that he was a fighter and he trained and it was just like his thing. And then, we're going to make this the biggest thing in the world and we need you to be a part of it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, wow. It's so good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, he's a powerhouse. There's no doubt about it. I want to go on the show one day. Redban's going to hold my hand and bring me on the show after I shake out what I'm shaking out in my personal life. Because I think I can have a better conversation with him when I don't have things going on.
Yeah.
Because you want to be completely honest when you go on these shows.
Yeah,
you don't want to play morning radio.
Well, you have to. It's not a show. Like, you don't go on and just, I'm going to plug this gig that I got. Like, you can mention it, but you're not going to sit there and do 20 minutes of comedy plugging, the Peoria Chuckle Hut gig. Like, it's not that.
Right. You know who Adam Egert was on not too long ago? the talent. So
Redban, I see you got jujitsu. You do jujitsu?
No. I just hang out with all those jiu-jitsu guys that are used to it a lot.
I thought Doug was saying, "Hey, Redban, I'm gonna leave now."
No,
I'd love to find out that Brian's like a living weapon. Like like he's just waiting to fight to kill us all in here.
Now, this was something I was thinking about doing, but you might want to regroup. This is just a quick one about RVs. In a season when the urge to escape home will be matched by the need to be flexible, said so-and-so, a lot of people are arriving at the same solution, getting lost in America in an RV. While most Americans remain reluctant to take domestic flights or stay in hotels, many are turning to services such as Outdoorsy and RV Share, peer-to-peer RV rental platforms that function like Airbnb and RV Share, which lists more than 100,000 RVs nationwide. Now, the reason I'm reading this is because I was thinking about this at some point, but it is not cheap. It's the price will depend on the motorhome you choose, of course, but RV shares report an average of $150 per night. I can stay at the Red Roof Inn for
$79.99.
$54 or $80.
Less than that.
Yeah, $150 per night, or a $1,000 for a 4 to 5 night rental. So look into that. It's not as cheap. You figure it'd be just like renting a car. Let me rent the damn thing. But they're going to charge you the same prices of an expensive hotel.
You're renting a car and a hotel together.
I guess, yeah. So
you got a family, Doug. Would you do that? Would you take the family, like, rent an RV and go out for a week or something?
Yeah, we're actually talking about doing it because my son has about 2 more years before he goes off to college. So we want to do go up to the Redlands. Everything we've been talking about doing it. So family stuff.
So that's a good price compared to taking your family in a hotel, right? I mean, $150 a night for an RV is cheaper than the whole family because your whole family ain't staying in one room.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. This is family stuff, though. Anybody else have a family besides me in here?
You're the only responsible adult.
Yeah. I'm a comedian.
I had my tubes tied back in high school. Yeah.
Court ordered, I'm sure.
And this is an obituary, the section. We're almost done with the items of interest, and we'll get going on what's happening out there. This is Leave It to Beaver, I guess. Wally Cleaver died.
Which one is that?
He became a police officer, LAPD police officer.
The neighbor. Good morning, Mrs. Cleaver.
He's the guy who would cause a lot of trouble, but then when the parents came in,
that's the Beaver's brother. That's
that's the brother. Sorry, you're right.
He would cause a lot of trouble, and then when the parents came in the room, he was like, "Oh, what a nice dress, Mrs. Whatever."
No, that was Eddie Haskell.
No, this is the brother.
This is Ken Osmond.
Yeah, but this is the Bee's brother.
Beaver's
brother.
brother.
Oh, anyway, he was only supposed to do one episode, but the character was so good that he remained on the show the whole season.
He died
the whole time. Yeah, he passed away. He was 77.
When he died?
But then he got pigeonholed. Whenever he went for an audition after this, they saw that character, so he could never get hired because they just saw that character, and he died not too long ago. On a motorcycle, so he became a police officer, LAPD police officer.
Really?
On a motorcycle patrol in 1980, he was shot 3 times by a suspected car thief, said the so-and-so and so-and-so. His protective vest stopped 2 bullets, and a third was deflected by his belt buckle. Days later, he was nearly shot again.
Jesus.
Osmond became clinically depressed and spent days in isolation without speaking to his wife or children. He retired from the force and said his mental health improved only when he returned to the Haskell role for the 1983 TV movie that launched a cable series, The New Leave It to Beaver, which ran for 4 seasons. We had a family, Osmond said, and his close relationship with his castmates. It really was and still is. So it's really true. When you work on a show for a number of years, it becomes like your family, especially if your real family are scumbags. And then when it breaks up, it's...
Well, I guess if you're on a show, if you're on set 10, 12 hours a day, it makes sense that you would bond like that.
Yeah. So that was, I thought that would be an interesting one. Leave It to Beaver. And the last item, of course, is very popular. This is a little bit of wisdom.
Okay.
Some of them we understand, some of them we don't.
Most of them we haven't. Go ahead.
Nostalgia is memory minus complexity.
Yeah. Yeah, you remember it better than it was, right?
Yeah, I think.
Ben?
Right. Well, without wouldn't it be pain then?
No.
Direct your question at
Dr.
No, think about it. When you think back to...
looks like Alan Stevens.
Like if you had like an old girlfriend, you don't remember the fights. If you just
Right.
you remember the good part, right? Or like if you had a car that you like, you don't remember
Yeah,
when it broke
exactly.
down. You remember riding.
putting oil
down
in.
Remember the good
CH.
times.
Yeah,
Remember the
yeah.
good times.
Yeah, that's nostalgia. You don't.
Right.
It's not reality. You know, in reality, the car was a piece of shit, right? It just broke down all the time.
It's like, it's
But-
me. I remember that one show, that one 3-minute show I had. That was just great.
Yeah.
Over 25 years, there was a 3-minute section that I was really just felt in the zone.
It was minutes 16 to 19 were just perfect.
You guys are going to come back on the podcast too, I hope.
Yes, please.
And happiness in this world, when it comes incidentally. Make it the object of pursuit, and it leads us a wild goose chase. And it never attained. Follow some other object, and very possible we may find that we have caught happiness without dreaming of it. That's your story.
Yeah,
Man. What a,
stumbled into this. It's been a good
and then
run.
took it by the horns. Never stand up when you can sit down, and never sit down when you can lie down. Winston Churchill.
And that's why America's gained 5 pounds during the pandemic.
The world is always ending somewhere. It just depends on whether it falls in your line of vision or not. Martyrdom has always been a proof of the intensity, never of the correctness of a belief. Oh, that's a deep one. That went right over my head. It'll take us 10 minutes to decipher that one. We'll just move on. That's okay with you, Doug.
Yeah. I was just reading,
Doug's checking his-
Reading some back of the cereal box here.
reading the instructions of the how to operate.
You don't dislike me, do you, Doug?
No, of course not.
No, you can. No, we're very honest on this podcast. We really are.
I don't even know why you would ask me something.
I
that.
like when people take me to task. You don't want somebody.
No, it's good.
Perfect.
It's good. But
Did you expect
keep-
something else on this
No, but you keep
podcast?
saying that's over with, and then you keep reading. You say, yeah,
So to tell the truth, then you
he
don't.
said, no, but he said he's gonna wrap that up about 4 or 5 times. Man, he said, yeah. So we're gonna finish this up.
Well,
Right,
then-
so we
He
finish.
did say,
Yeah, you said that. Then you,
But it-
and then you turn the
well,
page like you
But
started the whole new
if, it
page.
led, but if it led to, you don't like me, Doug, then it was worth it. Then it was worth it. If that's where it went, it was worth it. You don't like me, Doug. That's the most honest moment of the podcast right there. Just, all of this shit is window dressing. Let's get to what it's really about.
There is no way to stand firm on both feet and escape trouble. There is no way to stand on both feet and escape trouble.
Winston Churchill.
And the last one, that was Homer, quoted in the.
Another last one.
That's what I'm saying.
The last one.
And this is the last one. It really
Okay,
is.
all right.
Everyone is entitled to my opinion.
Do one more just to make Doug. Just to bother Doug. Can you find one more?
So
Who was that?
I have a quick letter, but I may not even get there because I want to talk to you guys. I want to have a serious and funny, candid conversation about what is going on. And I think we'll just go round robin
Yeah,
and
start
edit
over
yourself.
there. Yeah, start right
And
there.
what's your opinion on Black Lives Matter? That's it.
Pro Black Lives Matter. That's
No, I think I'd be guilty or I'd be negligent if we didn't talk about it, right?
Obviously.
I mean, you know.
It's a great time.
So, do you want to just is that what do you think?
Span.
Well, if we could lead into with a question like that's kind of a broad, like, what do you want?
All right, we'll come back to you.
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead,
You didn't have anything?
No, I mean,
brother, you can't leave out like that. People watching this and hearing this, that's gonna look bad, brother. You got to say something about Black Lives Matter.
You're right.
No, I did.
They're gonna label you a sellout, brother. He just set you up to
Uncle
be crucified
Tom?
by the black.
Uncle Tommy is here.
I noticed how you guys pushed this off for me to start.
I, as another black man, I can't let you just leave you hanging like
You're
that.
the least
brother.
famous. You're the least famous. We got to
You
start
got to
with
make
you.
sure you say something on Black Lives Matter, brother.
Yeah. I'm not even sure where to start.
He's like the guy. Hey, why don't you get the fuck out of here? Get the fuck out of here, man. You some motherfucking racist motherfucker.
And that's the white guy. That's the white guy yelling at him.
No, I'm just not surprised by what's going on. That's the first thing. What long-term solution I haven't figured out. Some things are, I guess, easier to address than others. There's the economic issue. There's just the knowledge issue. There's a respect or point of view issue. There's a shedding of I don't know if I want to use the word supremacy or just what would be the best word for just kind of a.
You knew you were coming on the podcast.
I did. And
you know what's going on in LA right now, right? And all over the country, right?
And I'm trying to think of.
I find it hard to believe that you can't put a fucking sentence together about what the fuck is going on being a black man in America right now. What planet are you from? Where did you park your spaceship, you motherfucker? Now, we're going to give you another couple of minutes to figure out what you want to fucking say here. He's acting like that guy in Canada, that dumbass in Canada.
Who?
Whatever his name.
Trudeau.
Trudeau. They asked him a question. It took him a half an hour to figure out what he wanted to say. Stupid ass. Everybody's true colors comes out. After a while, you can hide for so long. A simple fucking question, and that motherfucker was tongue-tied like a cat with two mouse in his mouth. Stupid. His whole bullshit. That's what happens when Daddy was the president.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the real Brian Holtzman. All right? It took a while to get there, but now you understand what I said when I first came on this show. The first time I heard that, I was like, I love this guy. I don't care what anyone thinks. This is the real Holtzman.
Go ahead, Ben. You want to just try it again? Why are you having
this shit is funny. You got a white guy who brought up Black Lives Matter, then got upset, destroyed the brother.
Oh no!
This shit is classic, man.
How the fuck can you not have an opinion? What planet are you from? Holy!
Oh my goodness!
You know what? We got to get Holtzman a job
Okay.
at Fox News and watch him blow up the entire network. Fox News went out of business this week. Apparently, Brian Holtzman blew up the entire thing with one rant.
Well, how do you reverse 400 years? How do you gain a sense of reestablish a sense of self-worth that was not established initially?
You're talking in circles, man.
Okay.
No, I get what you're saying. It's a complicated issue. I get what you're saying. There's no easy solution. You're right. You're right.
Thank you.
That's what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
But I don't know like the first step to go on.
You know what your first step is? Don't let a white guy talk to you like that. That's your first step. You tell a white guy, shut the fuck up, man.
Especially an ugly-looking white guy.
I knew this was coming, though.
I know.
Oh, we couldn't tell. You knew it was kind of.
Yeah, I haven't laughed that hard.
Doug, you want to go next, Doug?
Here's the thing about with everything that's going on to me. For years, Black Lives Matter existed. These shootings came up, and it was like on to the next one. this is the first time that I've seen white people. I mean, I've seen like 3 or 4 protests here in LA, and it's been all white. I mean, and you can tell white people are not used to doing this because, you know, when black people do this, it's strategic. Like even when the black people are with the white people, they know to get in the middle. They know to let them go up front. You know what I mean? They know how to strategically place themselves so they won't get hurt. But the thing that's standing out to me about this whole movement is how enthusiastic white people have become. Because I think until mothers, white mothers had an opportunity to really look at that tape. And as a mother, I don't care what race you belong to, you cannot help but see your son, that being your son. And it has connected. To me, that's what has connected. And once white women got involved, it's over. When white women in this country get pissed off, it's white mothers, it's over. So I really do think some changes are coming as a result. And it's unfortunate it took this many deaths and this elongated, essentially lynching. I mean, this was 8 minutes. I can't watch it. I mean, I can't literally watch that whole thing. I've only seen it in bits and pieces.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because I'm not, and I refuse actually almost to the point I'm not watching these videos to have the discussions to treat Black lives as if it's reviewing past interference on a call. You know, we're talking about human lives that have, always looking for a justification why this should have happened, why it did happen, instead of just, here's the results, somebody else is dead. And
then I don't want to take too much time away from Alonzo, but when the NFL has come out now and said that, they apologize. And Colin Kaepernick, bro, I mean, to me, you want to talk about it. I just can't find the sincerity in that when the person who brought it to them is still unemployed. You know what I mean? Yeah. When I saw the NFL put out their statement, I was like, you got to be kidding me.
I'll talk to that too. I agree wholeheartedly with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely on the NFL thing. Well, the NFL is just business. They're just trying to, keep themselves in business and deal with Colin Kaepernick. When the old joke I did about Black Lives Matter, like people ask me, do I like Black Lives Matter? Like, yeah, why? Because I have one. And getting to what Doug was talking about, it's true. I don't know why, but this time they heard us. We've been saying since Rodney King and before that, but definitely since Rodney King has been on video, we've been saying cops kill us. And they've always said, well, you resisted. Or, well, I joke about, well, I have superhuman strength, right? Because every black man who got killed, well, he had superhuman strength. We had to shoot him and blah, 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 right? But for some reason, this time, and not just the country, the whole world heard it. And the whole world said, okay, enough. Stop it. And we don't want to hear your fucking excuses. Like, whenever they say there's an investigation, I'm always like, it's not investigating. They're looking for the excuse. They're looking for the way to justify whatever. So I love the fact, like what you said, everybody heard it. Black, white, the international community, et cetera, et cetera. The other thing that really bothers me are these all lives matter fucking idiots. Because for one thing, you're full of shit. I hate someone who pretends to be dumb. So they're pretending they don't know what we're saying. And it's like, you're not that dumb. You know exactly what it is. And the best analogy I heard, I don't remember where I heard it, but this guy said, oh, really? Really? All lives matter? He said, okay, so your house is on fire. Your house is burning. And the fire department shows up. And they start hosing down the house next to yours. And you're like, what about my house? All houses matter. And then they start hosing down the house across the street. And you're like, my house is burning. No. All houses matter. Don't you think all houses matter?
That's a good.
And what are you going to say? Like, yeah, so fuck you. It's like exactly what we're talking about. Police are killing black people, so we're telling them black.
No
lives
doubt
matter
about it.
Because they're like, and what you said about the mothers, the people I feel worse for, and I know a lot of women who are living this, to be the mother of a black son is the most helpless. I know mothers of black sons from like little kids, 5, 6, 7 years old to kids who are in their prime, in their late teens, 20s. Can you imagine how helpless you feel every time your son leaves the house?
And I'm experiencing that right now because I have a 15-year-old son and he has his permit So we're out driving, and I'm having to teach him how to behave when if he gets stopped by a police officer, just as much as I'm teaching him how to drive. I mean, we're having to drill that of him being pulled over, keeping his hands on the steering wheel, saying, yes, sir, being polite. I mean, it's sad because he goes to school, multicultural school. I mean, he goes with white kids. He has white friends in it. So when I'm explaining this to him a few times, he's asked me, why do you keep grilling me with this? Why do we have to go over this every time we get in the car? And it's, what do you say to that?
Yeah. And then there was a, story where this white mother, she was mad because they did something about it on Nickelodeon. And she was like, no, my kid's too young to hear about it. And a bunch of black mothers were like, oh, really? You have the option to not teach your kid about racism? Because we have to, we keep our kids alive because at 7, 8, 9 years old, they have to tell them, listen, the police are going to treat you different. I remember my mother saying it to me when I was about 12 or 13. She was like, you're bigger than them. She said, that scares them. You have to be careful because you're bigger than them, and that scares people. And it was like, and I've dealt with that all my life. And you guys know me. I'm not walking around the street. No big people are walking around the streets looking for fights.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like, we're not Vikings. We're not out to conquer anybody. And I've been in situations where I had to put a cop at ease. Like, you know how crazy that is? And I said, you got the gun. You take it easy. You're okay. But it's insane. So now they're hearing us, which I think is great. And that will lead to, like you were saying, Ben, it's going to take some time to figure out what they're going to do. But the first step is to be heard so that they know, oh, there's a problem. We got to do something about this shit,
Yeah. Because one of the marches I was at, Culver City over the weekend, there was a juxtaposition of the protesters taking a knee in the street, primarily white. I was surprised at how, I was expecting more people of color, more Latinos and blacks there. But it's the backdrop is the rainbow that they put in Sony for somewhere over the rainbow for Wizard of Oz, which is right by where they shot Gone with the Wind, I'm pretty sure. And, Sony, when they got hacked, had that history of, or when the email hack where they lost all their data, some of the emails that came out were talking about purposefully whitewashing films because they thought they were, they needed to be bigger.
Yeah.
So, even with the support of the community, and even being heard, there's more to it than just the cops. There's the taking away of a stereotype that has been ingrained for 80 years now. I mean, longer than that, right. But just within a modern studio.
Yeah, to crack the systematic racism.
So you're dealing with, and as part of Culver City that's becoming more and more gentrified. So you've got 4 or 5 things going on just in one microcosm of one part of one city.
Oh, I saw that. I saw white people protesting in Brentwood. And I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah. That's when you know.
That's awesome because you couldn't be more insulated. Yeah. Right? They had one black guy and they got rid of his ass a long time ago. But no, it was, and there were kids, and I was like, wow, how great it is. And again, it's getting back to what you were saying about mothers, but for white people to teach their kid something's wrong, even if the kid doesn't understand it, just the fact that they're out there, they're like, something's wrong with society. So I think this side of it is fantastic, and it is crossing all barriers. And the other thing that's great is whenever they try to come out with the bullshit, right? Oh, it's Antifa, it's this or that. The bullshit's being exposed.
Right.
So they still try, they hang on to that shit, right? They hang on to the lies.
Oh, they're hanging on real hard right now.
But whenever they throw it out there, it's like it's being destroyed. Like, no, it's not, and you're lying, and that is fantastic for the mayor of D.C. to put Black Lives Matter right in front of the White House. Yeah. The only thing she needed to put up was a giant statue of Obama right at the end of it. Like, that would have been the only thing that made it better, would have a statue of Obama right at the end of it.
Right.
But,
That'd be great.
What do you mean by whitewashing the films? What do you mean by that?
Like certain films that they want that the cast was going to be people of color, but they changed.
So they didn't want any people of color in the movie. Is that it?
Right. They instead of having like if it was based on a true life article. Why are these escaping me? I can only think of 21, which was Asian, but there was other movies where they had, like it was based on an article or some event in South America or Central America, or some of the key protagonists in films, potential films, would have been African American, but then they switched them.
Yeah, they hired white actors to play them.
Right. I mean, that's not just Sony. That's
Well, they did that with the Indian too. That damn Indian crying in the canoe was an Italian guy. It wasn't even an Indian.
Or they made that movie where, like, wasn't Tom Cruise like the head of some Asian, like, was it Tom Cruise or Mark Wahlberg or one of them?
Oh yeah,
it was
like both of them.
Yeah, it was like this historic.
The Last Samurai.
Yeah, The Last Samurai. Like, I promise you, The Last Samurai wasn't the white guy. Like, I guarantee you. Now, I'm no expert on samurai culture, but I'm pretty sure that The Last Samurai was not a white guy. Just saying. I've been to Asia. There's a few white guys, but I don't think the most badass samurai.
They're just teaching English. That's all they're doing.
They're not going samurai. They don't, Imagine that. I don't think Bruce Lee had a white guy teaching him. Like, hey, Bruce, look, I'm the last one. I'm going to show you a few tricks. No, I don't think, yeah, you're right. They do that. It's comical when they do it.
Well, I'll just take some points that I think are the major problems and the major points. Number one, I love the police. If I get in trouble or I'm getting robbed, you have a family, things can go south, who are you going to call? And I think most of them, all of them are really, really, I mean, it's just like Chris Rock had a joke that I read on the internet, and it was, they always say there's a couple of bad apples on the force. But you'd never say brain surgeons. Oh, we have a bunch of brain surgeons that are not good. You wouldn't stand for that. You wouldn't stand for a brain surgeon. Every third patient died. So I can relate to that. So I don't want this to be about the cops are taking enough heat right now. And they're not making it better by some of the cops acting out in a bad way.
That, I'm going to jump in right there. That's the problem. They have to break that culture. They know who the bad cops are. They know who the racists are. They know who the white supremacists are. Cops have to stop protecting other cops. You got to say that, hey, get rid of this guy. Get rid of that one. And no one else can do it but the cops, right? Like in Buffalo, 2 cops push over a 75-year-old man. They get fired, and the other 57 cops quit. I'm like, fuck it, good. All of you, you're gone. Because if you're going to protect pushing down a 75-year-old man, we don't need you as a cop. Right? I mean, I understand what you're saying, Brian. We've all done cop gigs. I've done cop gigs.
Right.
Highway patrol, sheriff's department. And they laugh. They're people. They laugh. It's a tough fucking job. I get that. But they got to break their own culture of protecting the bad ones.
And, wholeheartedly. And that's probably going to be the toughest thing.
Yeah.
Because that's like, that's the foundation for how they operate. They don't tattletale on one another, no matter what.
Right.
Serpico. But the other thing I want to bring up is, Al Berman.
Yeah.
Al Berman brought up a real good thing to me. Some of the people say that George Floyd had some pre-existing conditions. And Al Berman said that would be like saying that the Jews that were gassed had pre-existing respiratory problems. The Jews had some kind of heart issues.
Heart murmur.
Yeah, before they were gassed in gas chambers.
They were more susceptible to gas.
Al Berman says hello.
I love Al. Tell him I said hi.
And then, and what I find disheartening is there's people that just won't have Black Lives Matter be Black Lives Matter. And it's all about themselves. It's about their fear and what's the other word? I guess I want this to be just right, so I'm...
Oh, it's not so easy, huh? Whoa! Where's it coming from? What? Come on! Can't cut your tongue! You knew 3 guys were going to be on this show today!
Well...
Oh, man.
Ben, how would you feel if you were the only white guy on the panel? But
Ben, now Ben can go home.
You redeem yourself.
That
man.
was...
I know what it is.
Black Lives Matter will be proud. They're going to be proud of you, man.
Everybody's trying to. Everybody. There's a lot of people that won't let Black Lives Matter just have their Black Lives Matter. And I'll give you some examples, and maybe you can wrap your head around them, and you can agree with me or disagree with them. But it's your ego and your fear, and that's the trouble. People are not in control of their ego. They're not honest with themselves. It's like when you were little, you never got vanilla ice cream. So as you grow up, if you don't get well, you don't want anybody else to have vanilla ice cream. So there's a lot of people out there saying, oh, Black Lives Matter. And they're upset about their past. Maybe, and they're not fully giving it up. So what are they doing? What about black on black crime? That's another issue. That's criminal activity. That's another issue. We're talking about sworn police officers with a license to conduct business with a badge sanctioned by the government. That is a different thing from black on black crime. That's just one example. Then there were 2 black comics. I don't know whether somebody sent me this on my phone. There are 2 black comics, the twins. I don't know if they're comics or they're twins. And one of them is saying, I don't know anything about Africa. I've never been to Africa.
You're not talking about Diamond and Silk, are you? Those 2 idiots.
I'm perhaps...
Probably. 2 women?
2 men.
Oh, no, I don't know the men.
And I'm African. I'm American. I'm Black American, and that's okay. I try to explain this to my friend. That's okay, but it's not helping the situation.
Right.
You're either like when you have an argument in your house with your family. Do you want to say something that's going to end the conflict and lessen it, or do you want to say something that makes it worse? And that's all I'm saying. It's making it worse.
I love what you said about fear, because that's where most hatred comes from. If you get underneath the hate, it's like, what are you afraid of? Why are you afraid of black people not being killed? Why are you afraid of black people being treated equally? And I love what you said about, if you didn't get it, you don't want anybody to have it. And the black on black crime, it's almost a comical argument now. It's like, you know what? It's a lot of white on white crime. You know why? And this has been studied. You know why? Criminals work locally.
Right.
Criminals don't commute. So in any community, like you can go to the hood and look at black on black crime, and then go to the trailer park and look at the white on white crime, and it's exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
Because they're both poor people who are struggling and got their back against the wall, whatever. There's drugs, and whether your drug is crack or crystal meth,
it's crime of opportunity.
Exactly the same. Yeah, crime of opportunity.
And the only people that go on the road to do crime are serial killers
and congressmen. Congressmen travel.
So that's what bothers me. If you're not going to say something to make this, it's like drinking and driving. They had to do something about that. So what did they do? They made laws and they got tougher on it. And nobody argued about, well, his car wasn't mechanically sound, and that's why he was killed by the drunk driver. You see what I mean? It detracts. It makes Black Lives Matter a little bit less potent. And why they want to do that, I don't know why anyone want to do that unless they have a problem with their own history, their own childhood, their own inhibitions, to not let somebody. It's like my sister lives on a block in East Islip, Long Island, and she's a black captain. It's just a cul-de-sac with maybe 12 or 13 houses. And they all put American flags up. So the guy across the street is a correction officer or retired, law enforcement of some kind, I'm not even sure. So he put up the flag with the thin blue line. See? So right there, you're making splinter groups. You're making it this and that. You see what I mean? So she went up to the guy and she said, I don't want to tell you not to put the flag up. I can't tell you not to put the flag up. Everybody loves the police. We don't need a special flag. And that's the cops matter too nonsense.
Yeah. Blue lives matter.
Yeah. I wish Black Lives Matter had just said all lives matter. See, because once you give somebody something to get on to distract from,
but like what I mean? It's not a matter of all lives matter because all lives aren't being taken.
Right, exactly.
That's the difference.
No, I understand wholeheartedly. So by him putting that flag up, he's starting a fusion, a fission.
Stirring it up.
And it's like this. Another great thing a friend told me. You remember when they had that thing, Save the Whales?
Yeah.
Save the Whales, Redban? Mm-hmm. Save the Whales didn't mean fuck all the other fish in the ocean. Right?
Save the whales, but fuck those dolphins.
No. Yeah. See and that's what they're doing with this, I think, to a certain extent.
Absolutely.
And it's to sell newspapers, it's to sell television ads and soap. It's to mix. And the union guys that are head of the police departments aren't helping. They're saying some pretty mean stuff and some outrageous stuff. But they're the head of the union, so they have to show their rank and file that they're doing a good job. But they don't have to. They're choosing to for their own personal interest.
Right, because even in the protests, there are a lot of cops who are, down with the protesters. Like, we get it. We'll take a knee with you or whatever. Like they're like, you're right. And the anger. And like I say, the willful ignorance, the pretending you don't understand. It's like, you're not that dumb. You know exactly what's going on. You're going to pretend you don't. But you're going to play victim. And there's nothing more annoying than that. You're playing victim. No, black people aren't playing victim. Like, we've been victims. Right. We've been through this. All of us, people ask me about it, like, I aged out. That's why I don't get hassled anymore, because now I'm at an age where if I'm driving a nice car, they're like, oh yeah, he's old enough to have that. Seriously. I mean, that's why I don't get hassled. That's why I don't get driving while black anymore. I've aged out. I'm not a threat really anymore because I'm older now. And they're like, oh yeah, a guy his age, it's okay. But a guy like your son's just entering it, right?
Right.
At 15.
Right.
So if at 20 years old, you're successful, you're on a show or something, you buy your kid a BMW, now it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Is he going to get stopped for like I live just outside of Calabasas, right? I'm in Woodland Hills. I joke, I'm Calabasas adjacent, right? So they were boarding up shit in Calabasas, right? And I'm like, there ain't no riots coming to Calabasas. Like, you'll be all right. Let me tell you that any black people in Calabasas have credits and a resume. You know what I'm saying? Like you see a black person in Calabasas, you recognize them. You're like, hey, aren't you on that show? Didn't you play for that team? Ain't no random black people in Calabasas. Nobody in Calabasas that you don't know.
Right.
I bumped into Reggie Miller in Calabasas. Reggie Miller. Yeah, I recognized him right away. I was laughing. They were boarding up shit. I literally was laughing. Like, really? You think Lululemon in the Commons is going to be run over this weekend? You think it's going to be a big rush at the Barnes and Noble?
And the looting again. Looters are just people that would probably shoplift anyway. That's not part of the Black Lives Matter. It's just, don't talk about the looting. I told my friend I'm not too interested. I feel for the people who have their businesses damaged, but I'm not going to get too excited about a store on Melrose that sells a pair of jeans for $650.
Yeah, he'll probably be all right.
Yeah. So, and the other one was what these two black guys are doing by making things worse. This is an example, and it dovetails on yours. Let's say your whole house is engulfed in flames, and your neighbor strolls down the sidewalk and says, I had a fire in my house, too, and it wasn't that bad. We cooked marshmallows. See what I mean? See, it just detracts from...
Right.
And that's what I don't like. And a lot of people, because of their own it's coming from them. Someplace they're upset. Someplace there's a chip on their shoulder that they didn't get the love they needed, or they had some problems. So why should they, they have no right to protest for something. I feel less than myself about and I think, but you can't force it on them. It has to come from them. You can give them the examples that we all agreed on. And most people will agree on those examples, but there'll still be a pushback.
And I say, fuck them.
There's a
That's what another phone call told me that too. She said, just got to let them alone.
That because you're not going to change their minds.
Right.
There's that percentage of the population that have their mind made up. They're embedded in their racism or whatever. I'm not going to waste any energy. It's like the trolls that pop up on your Twitter or your Facebook or something. I ain't got time to argue with you and your 7 followers. I may make...
That was me.
I may make one comment, but I ain't going to spend a day arguing with you because your mind is made up. You're not going to... It's not like someone's going to make a point and you're going to be like, oh, I never thought of that. Your mind's made up. You're done. So why even waste energy? Better to spend that energy on people who are trying to do positive, trying to push for change, than to fight somebody whose mind is made up and they ain't changing, they ain't giving in on anything.
Well, there's such a history, though, of black people being the boogeyman. So for any type of resentment or pain or whatever they're going through, shortfall in their life or perceived shortfall, then there's always something pointing at the black man that's going to set it off. So then any type of, if they feel that they're being something's being given to them that they're not getting, then it's creates just this firestorm.
Yeah,
and I agree. It's just you can't engage.
Again, just be mad. If you think somehow black people are being given something you're not getting, then just be mad. Who was it? Henry Rollins, Henry Rollins, the singer, activist, whatever. Yeah. He said it one day. He said, the average white person couldn't be black for 1 week. He said, you couldn't last 1 week. The shit that black people put up with every day, he went in. He was like, are you out of your fucking mind? You understand everything they do comes from a disadvantage just the minute they walk, and it was great to hear a guy who is telling the truth,
Black flag.
So, yeah. So those who think that we're getting some kind of break or whatever, it's ask them straight out, hey, would you want to be black? If I didn't think so. But what did Chris Rock say? The guy washing dishes wouldn't want to be him, and I'm rich. He said, there's a white guy washing dishes who wouldn't want to be me, and I'm rich.
Doug, can you stay a little bit longer?
No, I got to get ready to, I got my wife.
So do you want to, should we say goodbye to you then?
Yeah.
I got a little bit longer.
I'm going to take off also.
You don't want, all right. We don't have time for 10 questions.
We'd love it. No,
I'm not going to read the letter.
But this would be beautiful because we can have us back. This way you leave something to have, you guaranteed to have us back.
Okay. If you insist.
You can yell at Ben.
No. We'll end it together.
All right.
All right. We'll end it together.
Where can people find you? What's your Twitter address?
At Alonzo Bodden, Bodden, and Instagram is ZoFunny, ZoFunny.
For me, it's on Instagram. It's Mr. Douglas Williams, and you can go to my website, DougWilliams.net. DougWilliams.net. That'll link you to all my stuff. I also have a podcast that's about to come out probably in about a week or so, maybe, called Here to Amuse You. So that's coming out. Look for that. Here to Amuse You.
Any closing comments?
No, this has been great.
Any closing comments?
Great, man.
How about
just
you,
want to come
Ben?
back.
Yeah, I want to have you back. And go ahead.
Thanks for having us on and bringing me in last minute.
I'm
no
not
problem.
sure I could do this again without Ben being here.
Yeah, this has been a great. Hey,
I think Ben needs to be on every episode.
Yeah, I think you just got a co-host today.
This is why it's so good, and the reason you're all here is because you see what you get. You're not agenda based, and you're honest. You're great, really great people, and that's who you can be the most comfortable around is people that you know.
Oh, it's great, man. This was fun.
And
Fun. A lot of fun.
please, if you can hook me up with Joe Coy, I'm a big fan of Joe Coy. No, I want to.
Yeah, he's serious about that. He wrote that down on his paper right here to remind himself.
All right.
And I'm
bring
going
that up
back
to you.
east to visit my sister. She's got some health issues next week, tomorrow.
Hope she's
We're
okay.
praying for you.
And
on that.
so I don't know when Dead Air will come back, so bear with us. And thanks again, everybody, for coming on the show today. And everybody have a good week and show some love. Thank you.